right, all right. We live? We live? All right, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Yes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me turn this mic down just a little bit. Yeah. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode. Hotep History Live. I'm your host, Mr. Mo, President Hotep Dude, recording live from Hotep Station. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Get on in here. Get on in here. Yeah, with another one. On through, man. Got another one tonight. How y'all doing tonight? How y'all doing tonight, man? Niggas in the deep. Oh, man. Yes, sir. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of Hotep History Live. I am your host with the most, President Hotep Dubes, reporting live, representing Hotep Nation. I hope you guys have had a phenomenal week thus far. You know I have. I hope you guys learned something. You know I have. And as always, man, I want to know what your week has been like, how you been doing. You feel me? Um, Scruggs says, "What's good, dudes?" Vincent with the salute emojis. Crystal asked me, "Where did the gospel go?" We going it's a time and place. We're gonna be able to get back to it. But we're gonna start every episode with a spitter joint. You know, my man Spitter don't get the recognition he deserves. You feel me? And I do believe that people need to know about him. More people need to know about him. People that would actually be in tune with him if they knew about him. He's incredibly successful and super talented. But as a fan of his music for the past 20 years, pretty much, I gotta let some spitter ring off. So that's how it is over here at Hotep History Live. We gonna hear some spitter. That's a fact. You feel me? Shout out to my nigga Spitter. As a matter of fact, in Spitter News. We can actually get into that. So yeah, let me go to the bookmarks. The bookmarks. You feel me? No, not that. What is going on? No. Jumping ahead. Look at that. We are gonna watch that though. We are definitely gonna watch that. But yeah, there was this see, this is all here we go. Here we go. My nigga Spitter got the key to the city, man.
Franklin, recognized widely.
Hold on.
Mr. Shante Anthony Franklin, recognized widely as currency and reference to as the hot spitter and spitter Andretti, is a native New Orleanian, a true son of the city of New Orleans through and through. His parents are right here to attest to that. So that means he's standing on a strong foundation, and a foundation that many need to really understand that happens in the city of New Orleans like no other place on the planet. And there is no planet B. But we have our very own son who holds a significant position within the realm of hip hop culture and the community of the city of New Orleans. And we just celebrated coming off 50 years of hip hop. Yeah, we did. And so Currency, you are a reflection of how that legacy and preserving that culture keeps on giving, and it's strong.
Yeah, man. So congratulations to my man Spitter, man. He deserves it. The key to the city to New Orleans. He's been a huge representative of New Orleans for as long as I've been listening to him. He puts it in pretty much every song he has ever made. So him putting on for a city the way he has over like decade and some change or whatever is super admirable, and shout out to him. Shout out to Who in the chat. They say, shout out to the entrepreneur and the ancestors that were entrepreneurs. That's a fact, man. That is a fact. Thank you for that $10 super chat. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't know if y'all can hear that vacuum going upstairs, but it is what it is. Yeah, though. So shout out to Spitter for that. So going back to, regularly scheduled programming, I started my day like I always start my day. This was a little late, though. Started my day a little bit later than I would like to, but it's all good. Not complaining. Got everything that I needed to get done, my workout and all of that stuff. So it was super dope. I've been working a lot with like behind the scenes stuff with Hotep History, just getting a lot of new information on how to run this thing and all of that. So I've been doing a lot of learning on that tip, just like making sure that I'm fortifying the business, proliferating particular parts and accentuating others. Like it's super dope. It's super dope to do. I got some good content coming for you guys on the Patreon. So make sure you guys are subscribing to all of the things. Patreon.com/Hotep History. Patreon.com/Hotep History. Of course, Kick, YouTube, Instagram, me on Twitter, and of course, Hotep History on TikTok. Posting daily on all of the platforms so you guys can get more and more history. Today, we dropped a video about Dr. Robert R. Moton, who succeeded Booker T. Washington after he died as president of Tuskegee. So we can actually get to that. Hold on, let's watch it right here. August 26, 1860. Get into it. Dr. Robert R. Moton was born August 26, 1867. He graduated from Hampton Normal and Agricultural Institute, now known as Hampton University, in 1890. He finished postgraduate work in 1895. He was a commandant of cadets at Hampton with the rank of major from 1890 until his appointment as the principal of Tuskegee in 1915. He succeeded Dr. Booker T. Washington, the founder of Tuskegee, who died that same year. Tuskegee was founded in 1881 with 2 old buildings and 30 pupils. In 1928, it had grown to more than 2,500 acres of land, 120 buildings valued at $2.2 million or over $41 million adjusted for inflation, and employed more than 250 teachers and officers. Its student enrollment was over 1,711. Its endowment fund is more than $5 million, or almost $95 million adjusted for inflation. The mechanical industrial department for boys is composed of 40 trades. The plant consists of 5 large fireproof buildings. The women's industries consist of a number of courses. It offers training to those women who wish to become domestic science and art teachers. The agricultural department covers 2,000 acres of land. The courses train young men to be farm demonstrators, teachers of agriculture, and scientific farmers. In addition to these are other vocational courses. Dr. Moulton is also president of the National Negro Business League. In 1924, he was instrumental in organizing the National Negro Finance Corporation, of which he is president, headquartered at Durham, North Carolina. This entry was taken out of the 1929 Who's Who in Colored America book, and I highly suggest you guys check it out. For sure, man. And I told you guys that I was going to be making videos from those books. There's like mad of them. So, and it's so many different people that we can learn about. It was funny enough when I posted that on YouTube, like as far as a YouTube short, one of the commenters said something super interesting. I'm gonna try to find it. But if I, well, it's not even try to find it, but want to make sure it loads up in a timely manner. But yeah, they were basically saying how that that name, they understood that name, they recognized the name, but they didn't know where it came from. And I thought that was super cool. Let me see, it's loading up. So yeah, what do we got? What do we got? Is it going? Let me see. Yeah, it says. Here we go. It says, I'm from Hampton, Newport News, VA. I spent my childhood in a theater called the Moulton. It didn't functional at a theater anymore, but it was in the hood all my life. Never knew who it was named after. You got a new sub. So I gained a subscriber because of the video. So that's dope. And yeah, so they grew up with that name just around in the town and never knew what it was named after. So I'm glad that, I'm able to put some good knowledge in the game when it comes to my, Hotep history videos. That just made me feel good. You know what I mean? We got Sammy in the chat. What's going on, man? So that guy, so y'all enjoyed the gospel break. That was good. That was good. I had a great time. So I'm glad, Sammy, you had a good time, man, too. We definitely had church at the end of that that last stream on Monday, for sure. For sure, for sure. So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be talking about the history of Black American businesses. And the story, as you know, stretches centuries, it goes deep, and it's so much that we can talk about that. Something that I've noticed quite early was that a lot of the topics that we've covered definitely deserve part twos. Definitely deserve part twos. And this is going to be one of the most obvious ones. Other ones were obvious too, like politics and all of the other ones, the secret societies and things like that. But it's like, come on, like Black American businesses, like to even if I streamed for 6 hours, it would still require a part two. That's how deep the history goes. And I don't know if people really know just how important enterprising and doing business was to Black Americans. I know a lot of people have their critiques about like capitalism and stuff like that, and some of them are actually valid. However, when we're talking about the way that our ancestors operated in business centuries ago, a century ago, hell, 75 years ago, it was some of the best economic moves you can make for a group of people at the time, especially in America. Like the intentionality of the way they circulated the dollar, the intentionality of the particular fields that they went into and open businesses in. We had an entire episode about, Black American banking and financial institutions. Like that's due to them understanding that being able to, you know, accumulate capital and be able to circulate capital is going to have some type of institutional intervention. Like, you're going to have a financial institution as a conduit to be able to do those types of things when it comes to circulating dollars and stuff like that in any particular community. So of course you're going to see a lot of Black American banks, savings and loans, insurance companies, et cetera, because they understood that there's wealth in that. You'll be able to use that to build more wealth in the future. So you're going to see the same thing when it comes down to vocational and industrial businesses with, you know, factories and textiles and being able to create your own clothes. So having, you know, actual factories that, you know, make fabric, and having factories that process crops that goes along with the agriculture, because you need to be able to own farms and be farmers and stuff like that. So it's like the economics of Black America, first and foremost, were to supply the needs of the people for profit, and then use those profits to invest in the surrounding community. So that's just what it's going to be. So you're going to see education, you're going to see shelter, you know, building, like home building, like carpentry and stuff like that. You're going to see a lot of just industrial and vocational businesses starting up first, service-based ones, you know, starting up, and then you'll get into your specialties. But nah, it was, you know, it was grocery stores, it was factories, they were institutions or establishments that were needed to actually aid life. And then once those businesses got down pat, that's when you start getting to your specialty businesses, like, you know, bakeries and stuff like that. There's also a deep history in undertaking and being morticians and like the Black American funeral industry. And that deserves its own episode for sure. Like, we already said that when it came down to the live streams. So that's going to be another business that they get into as well. So we're going to get into a whole bunch. I wanted to start with some of the videos that I've made about particular entrepreneurs in history, because I feel like, I know you guys like to read, you know, along with me and stuff like that, but I know you guys like the, you know, the visual aspect too. So we can get into James Forten. If you've been on the channel long enough, you've heard me say James Forten's name plenty of times. You know, I'm a huge fan of his history. So we're going to learn about him first, and then we'll get into some more stuff. So let's go with this one.
And today we're going to be talking about James Forten. Now, James was born free in 1766 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. His parents, also born free, were sailmakers, so naturally James had a knack for boats and sailing in general. By the age of 9, James's father died tragically in a boating accident, leaving him to be the primary caregiver for his family. He left the Quaker school that he attended and got right to work. James apprenticed for a man by the name of Robert Bridges, who owned a sail loft, which is essentially a large warehouse kitted to be able to build sails. By the age of 11, he saw the British take over the city of Philadelphia, and by the age of 14, he volunteered in the Revolutionary War as a powder boy, which is someone who carries the gunpowder to load in the ship's cannons. He was captured as a British POW, risking being sold into slavery, and was eventually released in a prisoner exchange in 1782. Upon his arrival back to Philadelphia, it didn't take long for James to move up the ranks. He became foreman, supervising at least 36 employees, half of which were white and black, and when Bridges retired in 1798, James bought the business for himself. James developed new types of sails and sail tools that allow ships to maneuver better and maintain higher speeds. By 1810, James became one of the most successful businessmen in the country and was quite literally the richest black man in Philadelphia. Now, James didn't squander his wealth or use it selfishly. He actually petitioned Congress to emancipate all slaves in 1800. In 1817, he denounced the American Colonization Society's plan to send free black Americans back to Africa and reaffirm their right to live free in America. James was also an outspoken critic of Pennsylvania's Gradual Emancipation Act of 1780, citing that it was just taking too long. He also leveraged his name and his wealth to help fund the abolitionist movement by funding one of their newspapers called The Liberator. He also funded the temperance movement and women's suffrage. Not only that, he helped fund the Mother Bethel AME Church and was vice president of the American Anti-Slavery Society.
So, as you can see, early entrepreneurs, this is, 18th century entrepreneurs. And you're going to see this throughout the 18th century, the 19th century, and even for the most part, most of the 20th century. You know what I'm saying? And it's, first of all, entrepreneurship. There's the pursuit of entrepreneurship. That's one. Like just having the idea to wanting to get into business. You feel me? That's going to be just the spirit of Black Americans because it's just a level of independence that you have. You dig? And it's not even like James Fortin was a slave or anything like that. James Fortin was born free. I want to say his parents were born free too. So this is, at least 2 generations of his last name not even dealing with slavery. And this is during the 18th century. You feel me? This is in the 1700s. And he fought in the Revolutionary War as a kid. And then when he came home, the person that, had took him under his wing, he bought the company from him. And in 1798, he had white employees. This black man, half his workforce were black and the other half was white. And this black man owned it. So we talking in the late 18th century, a black man had white employees. And I understand about anomalies and I understand about outliers and exceptions and all this other stuff, but that's the point. In many different respects, like being the exception is a good thing. I think a problem comes when people use it as tokenism. People use it as a way to keep other black people, away from it or to gatekeep it away from other Black Americans so they can continue to be the exception. They can continue to be the anomaly. But if you are in a position that many other Black Americans are not in, and you know that you come from humble beginnings, or you know that the ability to get in it isn't ridiculously hard or unnecessarily or unreasonably, difficult to do, you just have to be focused. I don't think that you should be like stopping people from doing that. Like, I don't think that you should be the one and only person, because what happens is when you have more people go through the same gauntlet that you did, acquire the same professionalism experience that you did, you now gain not only, a potential partner or ally, whatever it is, but also you have more leverage when it comes to the industry or the skill set, at large. And I understand that when it comes down to this stuff, people have that scarcity mindset. They don't think that they're able to share, spots. They don't think that it's enough money to go around, all of that stuff. But the ancestors, like in the 18th, 19th, and, a lot of the 20th century, the only reason or the main reason a lot of the ancestors even built wealth was obviously to enrich themselves, but be able to help other people. Like, that was the almost automatic next step when it came after you took care of yourself and your family, your household, right? The next step was always to invest money in the community. Make sure that you're spending money with the community, making sure you're standing for things that would benefit your immediate community. Like that's what you saw in so many different entrepreneurs. So many different entrepreneurs throughout historical Black America largely built wealth so they can continue to help other people. Like, all right, I'm good. I got my land or I got my property. I'm making enough money for myself, more than enough money for myself. And I have these different investments. My family's good. Now let's, further, let's further what we can do with this wealth. And you see that a lot. So James Fortin did the same thing. He had bought the sailing company. He revolutionized sailing by, inventing or building these, these sails that are going to help, ships move faster and all this other stuff. He's an abolitionist. He was against the American Colonization Society trying to send the ancestors to Africa. You feel me? Like, he stood up for women's rights. He was against, alcohol, and he was pushing temperance. Like, he was involved. And that's what you're going to see among the wealthy black Americans, that they're getting involved because they do want the betterment of the overall black American population, at least in their city or their community. You dig? So who else we got? Oh yeah. I'm gonna read y'all that article. It's funny.
Talking about Lunsford Lane. Now,
right. So Lunsford Lane, I talk about him all of the time. He has a super dope story. So we about to get into it. Check out Lunsford Lane and his story.
President Hotep Dubes here, and today we're going to be talking about Lunsford Lane. Now, Lunsford was born in 1803 in Raleigh, North Carolina. His parents were slaves on two different but nearby plantations, and as an enslaved boy, Lunsford was no stranger to hard work. He performed a plethora of duties from woodcutting, gardening, working in the stables, the cotton fields, you name it. However, this same oppressive way of life made Lunsford a dreamer. He daydreamed about being free and what freedom meant. One day, Lunsford's father gave him a small basket of peaches. He sold them for 30 cents, which was the most money he had ever made in his life. After that, he won some marbles and sold them for 60 cents. After that, weeks later, he was given $1 by a friend of his slave owner. After that, another man gave him $1. And after that, his slave owner's son gave him 50 cents. These sums of money from various people, plus his yearning for freedom, gave Lunsford a new love for money. It's like a light bulb turned on over his head. All Lunsford cared and thought about was making money. A hustler was born. Lunsford would sneak off the plantation in the middle of the night with his axe and chop wood for 25 cents. After this, Lunsford's father suggested that he start preparing smoking tobacco. He sold the tobacco for 15 cents each. However, due to the particular way that he cured the tobacco, it could only be smoked with a pipe. So of course, Lunsford crafted a smoking pipe out of reeds that grew plentiful in the area. He sold the pipes for 10 cents each. He sold his tobacco and pipes to anyone that would buy, but also to the members of the state's legislature, which allowed his business to gain notoriety. In 1828, he married his wife, had 2 kids, and opened up his business. He was known as a tobacconist. Lunsford hired sales agents all throughout North Carolina, and after paying his slave owner's widow for his time and taking care of his children, Lunsford saved the rest. After 6 to 8 years of stacking, he had accrued over $1,000, which he used to buy his freedom in 1835.
Facts. So, I hope you guys heard that part of the story where this slave had sales agents. Like, in crazy. Like, in crazy. It's incredibly crazy. Insane that you had entrepreneurial slaves. And this is the reason why I be going so hard about respecting the humanity of the ancestors despite their status as slaves. Because what I do think, and this is not to undermine or to, downplay the severity of slavery, but it is also not to undermine or downplay the reality of the time as well. Your ancestors were not just like robots. They weren't livestock. And so much of how the ancestors have been talked about over the last 6 to 7 decades, to where it's like you're more worried about their status than them as human beings. You are only worried about how white people, their owners, are treating them than the actual minds and thoughts and behaviors of the ancestors. It's extremely weird to me. I'm not going to hold you, because I never looked at them like that. Even because it's not like I grew up watching Roots and no shit like that, but it's not like I had like this super deep, thorough reverence for them. I still just always looked at them as people. And I personally believe with the way American public schools has taught about slavery, and this is going to the white students and the black students, but especially the black ones, to where you don't even really view these people as people. You view them the same way like slave owners viewed them. And I don't even think that either. Like you view them like props. You view them as extras in a movie. That's like there's no relevance to you. There is no prominence to you. There is no pride behind it. And if there is pride, it's the anger you feel about their enslavement, which again is detaching them from their life. That's like saying 200 years from now, your great grandkids are like, I don't care about whatever they thought they did because they lived in poverty. Oh, she was poor. He was poor. I don't need to care about what my great granddad was talking about. Just completely just throwing away your entire story just because of a particular part of their lives, even if they lived and died in slavery. So again, when you're talking about humanity and having it be stripped away, is that not ironically the same thing that would be considered white supremacy, to where now you only look at the enslaved ancestors as like fodder, as props to the main, story of America? Like if there was going to be a way to view your ancestors in a undermining, dehumanizing way, that would almost be the same logic that they used to like push slavery. Like I don't think people understand just how deep the psychology of this goes, to where the way you view your ancestors right now is the way they were viewed back when they were enslaved, and that type of mindset is exactly what allowed slavery to keep going. Because when you think back to the ancestors and you think about the things that they were capable of doing or able to do, you're not thinking that they will be able to be entrepreneurial. You're not thinking that they're artisans. You're not thinking that they were geniuses in medicine and herbs and herbal healing and natural remedies. You're not looking at their vocational and industrial skills. You're just seeing a bunch of black bodies being used by an external force. And when you take away those skills, when you take away their motivations, when you take away their, the things that they actually did and said, you have now effectively viewed them the same way their enslavers did. So that is the reason why these types of stories need to be told, because if you were to tell a child who has been like programmed, let's just say K through 5, or let's just say 6 to 10th grade, and you tell them this, that mainstream way of talking about Black American history, but then you tell them about a Lunsford Lane, you tell them about a James Fortin, and the idea of being black in America before the abolition of slavery, before the civil rights movement, has now given them a lot more context and a lot more color to what's possible for them in the modern day. Because the prevailing narrative as far as Black American history is concerned is that everything that Black Americans have as rights or enjoyments of life came at the behest of white people being benevolent towards them, came as a result of integration. And so the whole idea of when was America ever great for Black Americans is like, like literally every day, literally every era of American history, literally every last one of them, excluding none, because you have amazing Black American life, amazing Black American innovation and advancement happening every day in every century of American history. You can relegate your ancestors' history to just the subjugation that they went through, the oppression that they went through, and you would just be a black white supremacist at that point. You would be a self-hating Negro, is what the ancestors would have called you. You can relegate, their entire existence on this earth as them being the subjects to what you call white supremacy. I will never do that. I will never do that. I will never dishonor the ancestors by doing that to them. making them side characters in a greater, narrative about, white superiority. That is insane. And anybody other than a white person telling Black American history that way is an op to me, is an absolute enemy to me. Like, there's no way that you can call yourself somebody being pro-Black or a proud Black American talking like that about the ancestors exclusively and only. You're bugged out to me. You're an enemy. If you can't speak to Black American pride from the very first day to right now, then you're an op. Period. Point blank, period. Like, I'm not teaching, I'm not taking any exceptions to that. If you don't know about James Fortin, if you don't know about Lunsford Lane or the like, or people like them during the times of the colonies, during the times of, the early 19th century, like, if you can't tell me about successful Black Americans before, during, and after slavery in this country, then you really not being taught well. You didn't study enough. You didn't read enough. It's insane to me. I can show you Black American success stories in every century of this country. It is what it is. So when motherfuckers get to asking, when was, America ever great for Black Americans? Like, literally every era. You can be like, oh, it's only because of the laws and all this other stuff. It's like, you don't know what you're talking about. Your ancestors got those laws changed or had those laws created. Your ancestors, in the face of the oppression, in the face of discrimination, in the face of overt racism were able to do amazing things. You, in comparison, are in the most progressive era of American history, and you haven't produced a modicum of what they did. We watched a video just now of Dr. Robert Moton and, him succeeding Booker T. Washington with Tuskegee. And in that video, it starts with, Tuskegee started with two old buildings. Two old rickety buildings. We seen it in the video. And it turned into this illustrious campus that had over, 2,500 acres of land. This is during Reconstruction. Like, this is during, the late 19th century. With the lynchings and all of that other stuff that y'all like to, talk about all of the time. Like, that's like literal institutions were being built. Literal towns were being built. Like, political progress and all this other stuff was happening every day during these times. And that's the reason why it was great for Black Americans. But if you're only going to view Black American life through white lenses or comparing it to white life and white life only being the standard, then yeah, of course, you're going to come back with a whole bunch of negative things to say about the ancestors. And that's the problem. I watched a video earlier today where this young lady was talking about people who cling on to, I'm paraphrasing, like people who cling on to Black American traditionalism and the ancestors and stuff like that. They get offended when you enter new things. And it's like, I get the argument because certain people are stuck in their ways, and those ways do need to be modified and, improved upon. For sure, the ancestors weren't perfect. I 100% agree with that. However, when it comes down to what we consider, modernism, or what we consider like contemporary knowledge, when it comes down to the application of these things, it has done more harm per capita than what the ancestors prescribed. So while you can be mad at a Booker T. Washington or whatever because you say he believes in being accommodationist and being able to placate to, racist white Southerners and all this other stuff, all of the criticisms that you would hear about a Booker T. Washington, like, your alternative to that has not increased Black American student attainment, education attainment. Like, So when it comes down to modernizing and growing, past what the ancestors may have, put in the foundation, I'm with it as long as it's actually going to produce better results than what the ancestors did. Because if not, we're just changing for changing's sake. And we have a space coming this Saturday all about this conversation. So if you want to argue for Black American, I guess like modernism versus Black American traditionalism, I'm going to be on the traditionalism side. History is on my side when it comes to this stuff. The amount of progress that Black Americans made between the years of 1865 and 1965 all back me up. All back me up. That is a century of such amazing Black American attainment. It's not even funny. Like world changing advancement happened in 100 years of Black America really being able to be on their feet. And that's with all of the opposition. Because it wasn't like a smooth ride. It wasn't like we had GI Bills and shit like that. We had little things here and there that would help from the outside, but when it comes down to the overall advancement of Black Americans from 1865 to 1965, it's unparalleled. Unparalleled by any other demographic in the world. And because so much of my study takes place in that century, I'm telling you, it's not even like I'm like the end-all be-all authority to this shit, but I'm telling you from the things that I study during that century, it's undeniable. Like in that century, we had Charles F. Page with the airship. We have what's my lady name? Marie Van Britton Brown with the home security system. We have the electric microphone. We have refrigerated trucks. Like, you have to understand, like, Black Americans was on a epic run, and there's a lady now being honored in the Hall of Fame. She just been she was behind Zoom and FaceTime or something like that. What's her name, chat? Let me know her name. I could look her up. But yeah, she just was honored. So I'm telling you right now, son, 1865 to 1965, if you just study that century alone, I think you would come back with a lot more, and you studied it from the Black American perspective. Okay? And you actually understood the successes that were going on there. Because you can also psyop yourself into only reading, firsthand accounts of fucked up shit that's going on with Black America too. And you would equally have studied the ancestors. So I want you to get the 360 view, but I also think that a lot of you don't have it. I think a lot of you only read one side of Black American life. You only read of the failures. You only read of the blunders. You only read of the subjugation and the oppression and the discrimination. So then you walk away with that century being nothing but hell for Black Americans. It's simply not true. Simply not true. And I think if more and more Black children, young Black people walked around with the type of historically based pride that I have, after studying the ancestors the way I have, I think that Black America will be on the ups mentally. Like the demoralization is so high, the demoralization is so high as it pertains to the way our history is told. I talk about this all of the time. If the history that you're being told about your ancestors don't educate, motivate, and inspire you, then you're getting bad data. You're getting propaganda more than likely. So that is the reason why I go as hard as I do, is because I truly believe if a lot more Black Americans walked around with this historically based pride and be motivated by that and use that to actually guide your steps in the present, I don't see anything that we couldn't do. There's no way that you can see a former slave become a millionaire. A former slave, man, grew up in slavery, got out of slavery in their 30s, 20s, been a slave since birth, get out of slavery and become a millionaire. How many of those types of stories have you been told in your childhood? Be honest. What Black adult told you that there were former slaves that were out there building towns? How many times did they tell you about Black Americans who were enslaved, but they had businesses and they, led revolts and rebellions. Like, it's so crazy. Like, we have all of this history and all y'all hear about is what white people did to us. That's not black history to me. So,
President Hotep Dube said, and today we're going to be talking about lunch.
Such a sensitive anything. Anyway, so this, I think this is a good thread to start. It's about the National Negro Business League. It is honestly one of Black America's like best institutions. For sure. In that century I was talking about, that 1865 to 1965, the National Negro Business League was founded in 1900 in Boston, Massachusetts. They had their first convention August 23rd of that year, I want to say. The National Negro Business League is dead as top 10, if not top 5. I'll give a top 10. Top 5 in that century, though, for sure. But top 10 Black American innovations. The National Negro Business League predates the Chamber of Commerce. You feel me? Like, I want y'all to know just how pivotal this association was. And of course, it was headed by none other than OG Book. Big Book was behind this. Of course it was. Of course he was behind this. It's Big Book. So let's get into this thread. And then I have a video that goes along with this. All right. So it says, imagine an annual convention where thousands of Black American business owners, tradesmen, and professionals met to discuss how to expand their economic presence throughout the country. That's exactly what Booker T. Washington's National Negro Business League did in 1901. A thread. So let's get to it. Is it going to load up? Yep. So I said I cannot overstate just how significant these annual conventions were. Just to give a glimpse of the type of discussions that were being had, take a look at the official records of the NNBL. Black men and women coming together to talk business. And I said to be a fly on the wall, because I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall. So these were pretty much all of the things that they would talk about in the National Negro Business League. You feel me? So you had things like... So you'll have the speech titles and then the people who are going to make the speech. This was the first meeting, August 23rd and 24th in 1900 in Boston. And actually, you can actually find some of the speeches online. I know I was able to read, I forgot his name, but he's going to be on here, so I'll be able to find him. But I was able to read his speech to the people. So, you had things like the Colored American in Business, okay? Andrew F. Hillier said that. He's coming out of Washington, D.C. The Negro as a real estate dealer, Giles B. Jackson. We talk about Giles B. Jackson all of the time. Now, Giles B. Jackson was a lawyer in VA. He was a lawyer in Richmond. He's the reason why the first Black American bank was chartered. So when we start talking about the domino effects of Black American advancement and all of that, like, trust and believe, I tell y'all all of the time, there was 5 types of Negroes back then, as far as historical Black Americans go. You have the professional, the industrial, the professional, the industrial, the commercial, the political, and then the intellectual. That is going to be the 5 types of Black Americans, historic Black Americans, that are going to be the ones who are pushing for Black American advancement. Those 5. Okay? Commercial, industrial, professional, intellectual, and political. All right? And so you're going to see a lot of overlap in those 5 types. You feel me? And so when it comes down to Black American advancement, you needed the businesses. You needed the capital, you needed the enterprising, because not only did it mean for economic, opportunities for everybody, but it's like nobody else is coming, and it creates a foundation for everything else. You need a home, so you need to get into real estate. You need food, so you need to get into agriculture. Like, it just only makes sense. So yeah, let's get back to these. Let's see. Negro business enterprises in Pensacola, Florida. Negro business enterprises in Enfield, North Carolina. So again, these are people coming from these different cities, converging on wherever the convention is going to be at, letting people know what's going on the ground where they're from. And that's the reason why the National Negro Business League was so important, is because if you living in Boston in the early 20th century, you don't know what the hell is going on in Pensacola, Florida, or Enfield, North Carolina. You probably never even heard of Enfield, North Carolina. But there's Negro business there's Negro business happening in those places. And now you have the opportunity to invest in a business on the other part of the region or another part of the country. Like business, yeah, that's what I was going to say. Business is being conducted, in those areas. So now, okay, what are the grocery stores doing in Boston? What are the grocery stores doing in Enfield, North Carolina? What are the grocery stores doing in Pensacola? And now everybody's getting notes. Everybody's writing notes like, oh shit, this is what they doing out there. We can implement that here. Or we have manufacturers out there we can start shopping with. The networking, that's why I said to be a fly on the wall in these meetings, dog, like to be able to see how they were networking. Because you can imagine, like, I have wrote a whole video up about this. I got a video about it. But it's like, imagine you looking for work and you are literally in the center of dozens, hundreds, if not thousands of Black American business owners. Like, you think you can't get a job? We talk about job fairs and stuff like that, but like, imagine that. A bunch of Black-owned businesses business owners coming together, talking about their various industries and stuff like that. And then you are, looking for work. Now, you can more than likely be an intern, an apprentice, or an employee from any one of these Black American business owners. You may even have an opportunity to travel, because a lot of these people are not even from the city you're from. So if you are a Black American from Boston in 1900, and you got people talking about Pensacola, Florida, and Enfield, North Carolina, and different places around the South and around the country, you may be able to move. We watched that with Francis's story. Remember, her brother left to Illinois and worked on the railroad and was able to pay his mother's rent for the next 20 years, faithfully. So moving and looking for new opportunity in the South wouldn't be like some far-fetched thing. As a matter of fact, you had many people rather, coming up there saying that very same thing. So let's go. What else they have? A brief directory of colored businessmen in the city of Jacksonville, Florida. The Negro as a druggist or a pharmacist. Work in hair, dressmaking. The Savings Bank. The Building of a Negro Town by Isaiah T. Montgomery. So he's literally telling them how to build a town, son. Negro Coal Mining Company. This is the speech I was telling you about right here. The Negro of the South and what shall we do to be saved? J.C. Leftwich, that's his name. Yeah, that's his town, Klondike, Alabama. He created that town, and in his speech, he said, if y'all can't make it out here in Boston, he called Boston the hub of the universe. He was like, if you can't make it out, if you can't make it out in Boston, which is supposed to be the hub of the universe, the center of the universe and all that other stuff, come on down to Klondike. I just started the town. We can use all, as many people as possible. And he was one of the, first people as far as the first day. He was a part of the first session. He talked about that. What else did he talk about? Negro business enterprise. Coming out of Macon. Merchant tailoring. Women's development in business. In 1900, they were talking about women in business. So people be, all of the modern day feminists be talking about how oppressive and all it was to be a Black woman and all of that. Like, the first meeting of the National Negro Business League had several women in it. Several women. And I'll have you know, Booker T. Washington had a strict rule when it came down to the National Negro Business League. He died in 1915. But from 1900 to 1915, he said in his book, nobody is to take the podium if they have not actually done what they're talking about. So if you don't have an actual business, then you can't speak at the National Negro Business League. Like, that's insane. Why would I listen to you? You don't have anything to show for it. If you can't show me your business, if you can't tell me about your business, what business do you have talking about business? You don't have no business. Mind your business. Like, we have a bunch of Black American business owners. Well, you have no room to speak. We have too many people that have, have businesses. We're going to have them speak and let us know from firsthand, accounts, firsthand experience, what it takes to be a successful Black American business owner in 1900. Like, what? And that was like a strict rule that Booker T. Washington had. You can't you can't get on the podium and talk about business and you don't have one of your own. You're bugged out. Hell no. So women are taking the stage, which means they too have to abide by that criteria, which means they had businesses to speak on. Like, that's a fact. Understand that. Like, these people were never chump. These are not bums here. I know there's some controversy about Isaiah T. Montgomery. Don't think I'm running away from that. I understand his vote in the Mississippi Convention. That was that 1840, 1890, one of those. Definitely don't agree with it, but you may not like it, but I understand. I like, when it comes down to a lot of the economic people, they were really bad politically. Not gonna hold you, because Booker T. Washington, his politics is not the best either, because they were more worried about business and economics than they were, politics and stuff like that, which I get. But it's like, when you now are speaking about political topics, your political opponents are going to be like, well, see, the Negro said it, at least Booker T. Washington said it, Isaiah T. Montgomery said it, and it's like, all right, because like, when you zoom out, it's just one Black man talking and whatever his beliefs and shit like that, but because they're prominent, they're going to be able to use that against Black America. So I do understand that part. I just believe I can speak to Isaiah Montgomery as well as Booker T. Washington. While they may not be like shining stars in politics, because that wasn't their realm, when it came down to, town building or economics or institution building, they were dynamos. So you gotta take the good with the bad when it comes to that stuff. That's the same thing when I look at W.E.B. Du Bois. I'm not a huge fan of him, but like, his sociological work is undeniable. The stats that he took, in the facts and figures that he, in the data rather, that he gathered about, Black Americans in Philadelphia and the life of people in McIntosh County, Georgia. Like, he did take in some great data, his charts. But do I really agree with him economically? He understood the importance of like supporting businesses and stuff like that, but he was basically a communist. So no, I'm not going to agree with a lot of the stuff that he talked about politically. I don't agree with the way the NAACP was founded, like the Niagara movement and how that was used. Like, there's going to be a lot of stuff that I just don't like, but to think that because I don't like that the good that he did do is now null and void is crazy. It's crazy. So it's the same thing when I look at Booker T. Washington or Isaiah T. Montgomery. I'm pretty sure that there were more radical, Black Americans at the time politically, but the way that they saw it was, we just want to be able to, build wealth, and we don't even like care about politics for real. So that's all that was. All right. So let's see. Yeah, just more topics that they were talking about. This is over the course of 2 days. And then the second one happened the next year in Chicago. And they talked about catering, dry goods, the drug business, groceries, hairdressing, printing and publishing, merchandising, dressmaking, and millinery, fraternal insurance. Come on, we've been talking about that. Cooperative business, real estate, Negro enterprise in an Arkansas town. the game and poultry business. Like, yo, they talked about everything. The Business League of Virginia. Like, this is something that the ancestors was on, fam. Like, this is what I'm talking about. So, one of the things that was made subsequently when it came down to the National Negro Business League was a few things. One, we can get into this. George Washington, Booker T. Washington's book, The Negro in Business, where he highlighted the league's members. Because again, you couldn't speak without having your own business. So, this is Charles B. Smiley, and this is his business. What does he do? He is a catering. Okay, this is Chicago, and he's a caterer, and this was his place of business. Who else we got? This is I'm sorry, because like the letters is mad small. The letters is mad small. Hold on, I gotta look real close. Okay. It says planting peas in a peach orchard. Of J.L. Thomas. That's who this man is. And the picture is of Mr. Thomas and his wife and his two boys. So yeah, this is his farm. He owns this. Okay? Sorry about that. Oh, who else we got? So this is a bank. I think this is the Mount Bayou Bank too. Yep, the Bank of Mount Bayou. The Bank of Mount Bayou. Black bank in a black town. I'm trying to tell you, man, like the Middleton's up to date market. Look at this. Real deal black businesses. Get into it. And that's the reason why I be trying to tell people, man, like when y'all get to talking about the ancestors, like I really be wanting y'all to know what y'all talking about. For real. And have some damn pride, yo. Your ancestors was not chumps. Another thing that came out of the National Negro Business League was the creation and congregation of Black American associations. So you had groups like the National Negro Bankers Association, the National Negro Press Association, the National Negro Bar Association, the National Negro Real Estate Dealers Association, and the National Negro Finance Corporation, which we know was founded by Dr. Moten, who preceded Dr. Booker T. Washington as far as Tuskegee goes. Again, just more and more, overlap and domino effects. And we're going to get into the video of this. I made a little short video about it, and we'll get into it. But I just wanted y'all to look at the pictures. So I said these associations would grant loans. Hold on, sorry, y'all. Oh, yeah, I can't even see it. My start menu popped up. But anyway, these associations would grant loans, scholarships, and other economic and business resources to the general public. Imagine how easy it made for gaining education, employment, and even ownership within any given industry, all within the confines of your community. You understand me? Like, you have to understand how dope these, like, yo, you can go as a banker, as a newspaper. You can go to your respective National Negro Association and get guidance, be able to get funding, be able to get legal representation. You'll be able to get all of the resources that you need. Now, when you combine this strategy with being able to service as many people as possible outside of your community, all of those outside dollars are now going to be invested inside of your coffers, inside of your associations, inside of your establishments. So when we were having that argument about Booker T. Washington, and he was getting all of this money from Carnegie and Rockefeller and Ford and all these different people, it's like, yo, he was using that money to build Black American institutions. So when you are a Black law firm or a Black, private physician, with your own private, practice and stuff like that, you are able to, of course, serve your community first and foremost, but then you can also solicit your services to other places, to other people, and have more and more of that, American, dollar coming into your business, which would then have it go into the association that you're a member of. So your dues and the things that you want to invest in. We looked at the video where Tuskegee had a $5 million endowment adjusted for inflation, about 95 million. So again, this is the reason why I go so hard about having the Black American point of view when it comes to, actually studying Black American history. Because if you don't, you're going to miss this. You're going to miss the ancestors leaving clear blueprints and solutions to what we can do by them doing it themselves when they were alive. The public school mainstream histories of Black Americans are not going to teach you about this. Whether it's, for nefarious reasons or not, is really, inconsequential to me. What's more important is that these things existed and you need to know about it. And every subsequent generation of Black Americans need to know about it so we can build upon it. Many of these associations still exist today, and we'll get into that as well. I tell y'all all of the time, the National Negro Business League celebrated its 125th anniversary this year. Just a few months ago. So when it comes down to this stuff, a lot of this stuff still lives on. And we owe it to ourselves to compound on these things. I'm not mad at discarding the things that didn't work that the ancestors did. I'm not going to hold you because of my field of study. I don't come across it much. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm reading about success stories and stuff like that. So obviously by default, I'm going to be reading about people who did it right. But, Jupiter Hammond is, largely credited as the first author in Black America. And because he was a very, 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 very Christian man, he wasn't pro-slavery. He was pro-slaves being obedient to their owners because of the Bible. And I am going to hold you, Jupiter, much respect, but that's going to be a big no. Big no. Like, he was like, don't steal. Like, you read the speech or read the book, like, he's telling slaves how to behave. It's like, be on your best behavior because, you still got to go to heaven. You still are in charge of your soul, and you need to essentially be a good slave. And I was like, yeah, no. Like, I get it. I understand where he's coming from. You feel me? But it's like, nah. Not doing that, Jupiter. Sorry. Dope name. No. He even said, because he was an old man, he was like, yo, listen, I don't wish to be free at all, but, I do want slavery to end for the younger generations. He's like, I do think the younger generations deserve freedom, but as far as him, and if you asked him probably other people his age, it was like, nah, we don't deserve freedom. I'm old. I like the way my life is now. I'm used to it. I don't want to be free. Like, he said that. So there are going to be situations like that where obviously I'm going to disagree. But when we're talking about building national Negro associations throughout the country, having different chapters around the country, yeah, no, let's keep doing that. Like, let's build on that. No issues with that at all. You feel me? So this is the directors of the Afro-American Investment and Building Company in Brooklyn, organized September 1892. 1892 they did this. This is what I'm talking about, son. What else we got? Enterprising businessmen. You got the executive committee of the National Negro Business League. The purpose of this league is to bring the businessmen together for mutual cooperation and trade advancement. See, they make their statements and their objectives very clear. While they used a bunch of illustrious words, they didn't mince words. They didn't say they said exactly what they meant. They said exactly what they meant. This is exactly what they want. Like, no, we are doing this for mutual cooperation. We come together for mutual cooperation and trade advancement so we can make more money and get richer. That's what it is. We want to get richer. Facts. And we want to get rich with as many people like us. Period. Another group shot. Another group shot of the businessmen, black businessmen. Book in the middle. You know what? I should be ashamed of myself because I recognize some faces. I recognize him. But I can't remember their names. Shame on me. These are prominent men in this picture. I recognize him too. Damn, can't remember any of their names. But it's all good. It's all good. That's why we write things down. And then, of course, one of the more famous ones that we've seen online. All right. So, and then we end it with a quote from Booker T. At the bottom of the education, at the bottom of politics, even at the bottom of religion itself, there must be for our race, as for all races, an economic foundation, economic prosperity, and economic independence. This is what I'm trying to let y'all know. Booker T. Washington, he was about the money, fam. He was about economics. He wasn't politically focused. He knew that no matter what, green money, economics, finance is going to be the end all be all when it comes to this stuff. Y'all can play the politics game all y'all want. I don't care about no Democrat. I don't care about no Republican. I care about the mugga. I care about the bread. I care about where the cheese is at. So if it's a Democrat millionaire that want to donate some money to Tuskegee, so be it. If a Republican want to donate money to Tuskegee, so be it, bro. I don't care. What I care about is the economic advancement, the economic independence of black Americans. You niggas, you political niggas, y'all do the political thing. I don't know about politics, so when motherfuckers get to asking me questions, I say shit like, we could be as separate as the five fingers on social issues, but come together as one hand for mutual benefit. Like, yo, that makes sense to me. And me and all my homeboys, me and all my niggas think that's a grand idea. I don't care about being best friends with white people, bro. I care about getting my people rich. I care about us getting our bread together. Like, yo, real talk, like, it's fine. I don't care about integration. I don't care about none of that. Like, y'all falling over yourselves, worried about black people and voting. And it's like, yo, fam, y'all don't understand. Just keep giving me money. Keep sending me the bread, son, and I'll be able to take care of all of this stuff. I got an institution that I'm trying to maintain. I have black students that are counting on me. That's just what it is, son. They can't eat votes. They can't, you know what I'm saying? They can't build votes, fam. So I am not a political person. This is how I view politics. Simple. However, this is what I think is more important. This is why I am about economics. And so now we can also, like, in the 21st century, be like, oh, he was this and he was that. It's like, yo, cool. But it's like, son, that wasn't his calling. It wasn't like he was jumping out there trying to run for office, fam. That nigga did exactly what he knew was important for black America. He did his part. He did his part. I'm not mad at him for being, like, not being a political dynamo, because as far as economics and institution building, he smoked it. By his hand, he's responsible for hundreds, if not thousands, tens of thousands of black American professionals all across the country, son. He did his job, son, while he was here. If he had set out to politically free black Americans, or, you know, the political advancement for black Americans, then we would have an issue. But his entire endeavor, from every book that he's ever written, every speech that he's ever given, everything that he was physically able to do, it was about the proliferation of black American economics, fam. That's what it was about. And whatever industry that you're trying to get into, bro, let me know about it and see if I got any connections in there. We're going to get you paid. I don't know too much about the voting booth, but I know about this bread, fam. That's why I'm not mad at Booker T. A lot of the people, you know what I'm saying, they get their pennies in a bunch about it, and I understand why. It's just that, yo, son, that wasn't his calling. That was not his calling. He was here to do something else. And I just think that a lot of the politics, they had heavy opposition, obviously, but the people that were pushing it going into the 20th century and stuff like that, excuse me, like your W.E.B. Du Boises, I don't think they would have been the proper the proper representative for us, me personally. So yeah, let's do the video and then we'll go to that article, because that article was hilarious. So yeah.
So one of my followers and Patreon subscribers, Hotep Oz, asked me this question. I would like to know more about the impact black associations had on the overall black population. So American Negro associations grew in prominence during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. This was largely born from the members of Booker T. Washington's National Negro Business League. They were primarily created to aggregate all of the black American professionals and business owners in any particular industry to consult, cooperate, enterprise, and exchange information amongst each other. Now, during their heyday, there were dozens of them ranging from every American industry possible. Like, here are just a few of them. The National Negro Bankers Association, the National Negro Press Association, the National Association of Negro Funeral Directors, the National Negro Bar Association, the National Association of Negro Insurance, the National Negro Medical Association, the National Association of Negro Real Estate Dealers, and the National Negro Finance Corporation. These associations would have chapters in every major city where black people lived, and then every year they would come together for conferences and conventions. Now, these organizations were the bedrock to hundreds, if not thousands, of black American businesses, and plenty of them still exist today, just without Negro in the title.
Yeah, like real life. Real life. This is what it was for, fam. This is what it was for. They started these in the late 19th century again. I'm telling y'all, 1865 to 1965, an impeccable run for black Americans. Impeccable run. Look at what the ancestors were doing, fam, in 1895 to present, to right now, to this very day. Like the National Negro Association of everything. So in one of the pictures I used, it was the National Negro Association for bowlers, fam. Bowlers, just bowling, owning bowling alleys and then being a bowler. I'm trying to tell you something. Like, it was so important for the ancestors to enterprise. Extremely important for the ancestors that we enterprise when it comes down to, exercising our freedom. You have to understand they didn't take anything for granted. They understood what it meant to actually not have rights in a country that's full of them. They actually understood to be free in a country when they weren't free. Like, imagine, this country was founded upon independence and liberty and being able to, pursue your own happiness, and you're barred from it while also being told that you can't leave and you don't want to leave because this is something that you believe in. And then you finally, after all of these years that you were enslaved, had the opportunity to actually start embarking on this stuff. What the fuck do you think you're going to do first? The first thing we're going to do is start enterprising. The first thing we're going to start doing is building towns. The first thing that we're going to start doing is being independent as possible. The first thing we're going to do is keep and bear arms. The first thing that we're going to do is have newspapers to be able to express, our First Amendment rights. Not to mention that they were black Americans that already had a generation or two head start on them. So that allowed for a lot of the ancestors to hit the ground running. They were already free black Americans. So, of course, it's nothing to tap in with. I'm free now, too. What's going on? And yeah, you're going to have your prejudices and all of that other shit and classism among black Americans and shit like that. During that time, they looking down on their formerly enslaved counterparts and stuff like that. But that was rare enough that's not something you had to generally worry about. Most freed black Americans or free black Americans at the time wanted to help their formerly enslaved counterparts. Like, that was the whole point, because even in the most selfish of realms, these are potential customers for me now. So let me help them get their knowledge up, their money up, so that way they can spend money with me. That's in the most selfish ways of looking at it. So when you actually, You married the two, like, hey, I do have self-interest, and I also care about my fellow Black American. Yes, we're going to enterprise immediately. We're going to build businesses immediately. Immediately. There is no other way. It only makes sense, fam. And that's the reason why I be trying to tell people, when you start talking about the ancestors and all of that, it's like, yo, son, you have to understand the type of mindset that they had. Like, understand where they were coming from mentally to even want to do any of these things, fam. It's extremely, like, it's so lit to think about, son. They were not playing around whatsoever. They were dead ass about everything. They were intentional about everything. Nothing was left up to chance. We have a constitution, Bill of Rights, all of this shit on the books. Yo, we need a copy of that ASAP. Yeah, we need a copy of that. We citizens, and we full American citizens now. We need a copy of that shit. And that's why when you watching Hotep History, you going to read of Black men winning court cases in the 18th century. You're going to read of Black men winning court cases while slavery was going on. Yes, it was possible. Yes, it was happening. Y'all need to understand that your ancestors never just sat around and did fucking nothing, son. That didn't make any sense to them. It didn't make any logical sense to the ancestors to sit around and do nothing and hope shit works out. It don't make sense. There were lazy people all throughout human history. I'm not saying that there were no lazy people. I'm saying, by and large, the people, the men and women that made up Black America, they weren't sitting around doing nothing, fam. They went hard to be Americans. Nobody, there's no group on earth, no immigrant group, no group on earth that fought harder than Black Americans to be American. There are people who come from countries that we were warring with that had better entries into becoming an American than people who have been on this soil for centuries. There are people who come from countries that we were literally warring with that are able to come over here and become Americans like that, as opposed to what the ancestors went through. So you think that when it comes down to them actually getting any type of sliver of American citizenship, that they wasn't about to grab it by its fucking horns and make sure that they made shit happen with it? You kidding me? They never wasted a moment. As far as Black America is concerned, they didn't waste a single moment. There wasn't a single day where Black Americans as a collective wasn't getting to it. I don't care what you say. That's the reason why you niggas with your low self-esteem, the white nationalists with this weird ass revisionist history that Black Americans ain't do shit, no, like all of y'all, I view all of y'all in the same box to me. None of you actually studied the ancestors, so you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, period. Simple and plain. Nobody fought harder to be American and treated like an American than the Black American. Not one group. So you could talk about how the Irish and the Italian and the Slavs and the Germans and whoever else weren't considered white when they got here. Like, yeah, heard you. Like, I get it. Indentured servitude. I get it. You had political cartoons made about you. You were relegated to particular parts of a particular city and shit like that. It's like, yeah, dog, like, been there, done that. Got the t-shirt. Like, there's nothing that you can say you went through as a people, as an ethnicity in this country, that Black Americans didn't go through with first and foremost. That's legacy, fam. Like, y'all have to understand where that comes from. So, like, all of the boots on the ground work that allows America to stick its chest out as being this place of equality and freedom and all that other shit is based upon this treatment, or based upon what Black Americans were able to do with their citizenship. All of that huddled masses shit and all of that shit was based upon the fact that Black Americans, even despite being enslaved and all of that shit, still work to provide and contribute to this country. So if a group of people that we enslaved can still find value in this motherfucker, then we actually are who we say we are. And then the ancestors, based upon all the work that they put in, okay, for the advancement of themselves and therefore the rest of the country, America gets to be who she is to the world. You shitting me? I don't understand how y'all don't view your ancestors this way. This is where my immense pride comes from. This is where, like, y'all niggas don't get it. This some Hotep shit. America can't even be America without black Americans, but y'all over there mad. America can't be proud to be Americans without black Americans. The original sin and all other shit of the country. And black Americans rose out of that shit with skills, with determination. Like, that's what they came out of. They didn't come out of there downtrodden, not wanting to work, feeling like they're powerless and defenseless. That's not how they came out of that shit. It was like the hyperbolic time chamber, fam. That's how the ancestors popped out of there. Popped out of their bondage, ready to work some more. Just working to get away from that shit. That's what the ancestors was on. And that's the reason why I have this immense pride that I have in the ancestors, because this is the way I look at them. I don't view them as people that need to be pitied. I view them as people that need to be studied, that need to be understood more, because they did not come out of this bitch slacking or lacking at any point or any interval. I want y'all to really pay attention to what Black America was doing 1865 to 1965. Amazing things before then. Amazing things before 1865. We got the James Fortons and stuff like that. You feel me? We have the, what was son's name? Wentworth Cheswell or something like that. Yeah, we have him riding and warning about the British and shit like that with Paul Revere, a black man. We got a black man crossing the Delaware with Washington. You feel me? So, Crispus Attucks, we got a whole bunch before 1865 is my point. But 1865 to 1965, really tap into the Black American advancement of that century. I promise you, if you focus on the advancement and the progress that Black Americans made and what Black Americans did to specifically and directly contribute to that, you'll be hard pressed to walk away from that century not having the utmost respect and reverence for Black Americans. And I don't care what your ethnicity is. If you really care about civilization building, if you really care about advancement of a people, if you really care about the studying of history, there's no way you can read that history or read that century of Black America and not walk away with that shit, be like, yo, those are some bad motherfuckers. They did all of that. Black American men who could not read or write, starting and owning and operating businesses. You shitting me? Like, yo, you have no idea, yo. This shit is damn near supernatural. We have all of the advancements as far as technology is concerned, rather. And you see, you got websites that will literally build themselves for you. Just own it. We have now AI that will literally build websites for you. And look how hard it is for the modern American to actually make something happen. You had people who couldn't read or fucking write owning businesses, brick and mortar buildings, fam. Like, y'all really don't, I want y'all to see, like, this shit was so amazing. And for y'all, again, to reduce this story to just a bunch of subjugation, oppression, and bullshit, it's like, oh, you niggas don't read. You don't care to read. It's insane to me. A whole century of history, and y'all have been like, oh yeah, racism. Word. Disgraceful. Disgrace. So, this is the article I was telling you about. So, y'all know about O.W. Gurley, right? O.W. Gurley, obviously famously known for founding the Greenwood District in Tulsa, also known as Black Wall Street. I know a lot of you new Negroes only know about, May 30th to June 1st of 1921, but, it has an actual full history, okay? And O.W. Gurley, the founder of this town, had a little run-in He had a little run in, and I want to read it to you niggas. I want to read it to y'all. This was in 1916. Okay, so it says, insults colored woman, gets kicked out. 3 white men got in bad when they visited girly hotel for immoral purposes. So now, let me set the scene for you. We are in the Greenwood district. We are in Tulsa. It is 1916. Okay, so this is 5 years before the riot even happened. It's just Greenwood district, just thriving and surviving like they've been doing since 1905, right? Because that's when it was founded. 3 white dudes walk into girly specific hotel. So there's other people who own businesses in this town, in this district, obviously, but this is girlies. So not only he's the founder of this shit, he's the founder of this shit. Like, he's the founder of the town or the district, and he's also the founder of the hotel. So 3 white guys walk in. Let's get into the story. All right. So the girly hotel on North Greenwood was the scene of a battle royale last Monday in which O.W. Gurley, proprietor of the hotel, played the leading role, much to the chagrin, discomfiture, and embarrassment of 3 unknown white men who quietly entered the hotel and insulted Mrs. Gurley by asking for good time girls. We all know what good time girls are, right? We can all assume we know what a good time girl is, right? So, oh my goodness. So, Mr. Gurley was not present when the men entered his hotel, but arrived in time to ask them their business. So it's like, he wasn't around. He come in there, though, before they get to leave, though. The men hesitated, and Mrs. Gurley told her husband what had happened. So, O.W. walking to the spot like, yo, first of all, why are there 3? Like, I know how I can already see this is the Greenwood district of Tulsa. Okay, the Greenwood district of Tulsa. This is all black. Who are these niggas? Like, who are these crackers in it? Like, you imagine you running errands for your hotel. You gotta go talk to the textile people to make sure the towel shipment is doing their thing. You gotta go to the market and talk to the farmers to make sure the fruits and vegetables is coming in on time for your food. You ripping and running for the hotel all day long. You just literally minding your business. You pull back up to the hotel that you own. Do you feel me? And then as you walk in, you like, fuck are these 3 crackers doing in the middle of my lobby? Yo, what are y'all doing here? And they standing there like, and Mrs. Gurley's like, well, if you must know, husband, these gentlemen right here just asked me where the hoes at. Where the hoes at? What? So, just at this point, something else happened. Bing, bang, bip. Bing, bang, bip. That sounds like the Kendrick joint. Bing, bop, boom, bop, bam. Yeah. Immediately. Nothing else needed to be said. Yo, what y'all doing in here? And she told him like, yo, they came in here looking for the hoes. They came in looking for prostitutes. A word? Boop, boop, boop. Immediately. Yo, there was nothing else needed to be said. Nothing else needed to be said. We are fighting now. I ain't beating y'all ass. Y'all came in here being disrespectful, asking where the hoes at, asking where the prostitutes at. Does it look like the type of place that does that? I'm offended. So now y'all got to get beat up. Simple as that. That's simple math right there. 1 + 1 = 2. This is super simple. Okay? A child understands these types of consequences. Whooping ass. Belt to ass immediately. You disrespecting my wife. You disrespecting my wife. And this thing is, you more than likely, I don't know if she was like the receptionist or something like that that greeted you, gentlemen, or whatever. But if you just randomly picked my wife and said this shit, that's just your unlucky day. My lucky day. Because I get to show my wife I don't play about her. That's this. Like, this is another thing. This is another way of me being able to show my wife that I don't play about her. So let's get into the scrap. Let's see how the scrap happened. Bing Bang Bip, representing 3 rapid punches, an uppercut, and a left cross, and a straight arm jab, and 3 big burly brownies lay prostrate. Brawnies, not brownies. Brownies is crazy. Burly brawnies lay prostrate before the hero of the occasion. So listen, he beat 3 big ass men up at one time. Beat they ass. 3-on-1. Still whooped them. Uppercuts and straight arm jabs and all types of left cross, all types of, he doing fancy shit on these niggas. He getting fancy on them. You hear me? But even in their dazed condition, they realized that they were not a safe place. That was not a safe place for them under the circumstances. And with the agility of scared tomcats, they sprang to their feet, and with remarkable timidity of thought and purpose, beat a hasty retreat to the stairway, each claiming and disputing in a forceful way. Was that it? Wait, they wrote about it in another one. So yeah, son, you play with my wife, son, you got to get beat up. Oh, that's what this tweet was about. So yeah, OW Gurley, he was a fighting ass nigga. That's what. That was the whole point of this shit. But yeah. So OW Gurley was with the shits. Like, he fought a lot. So this is another story. This has got something to do with business, but not really. This is just dope ass stories that I read in the newspaper. So I said in the caption, I still have no idea why, but he engaged in seemingly random ass boxing match with a man named Shakespeare Johnson on Christmas Day. Dog, imagine. See, this is the thing. This is what some of the wives had to deal with, son. Like, your husband might just wake up on Christmas morning and go scrap something on some man shit. On some man shit. Like, fuck that. He was playing with me, babe. Like, I can't fuck with that shit. Like, nah. I gotta go beat his ass. Like, that's just what it is. So we're gonna get into this story, then we're gonna go back to the entrepreneurs. But O.W. Gurley, founder, legendary founder of the Greenwood district of Tulsa, famously known as Black Wall Street and shit like that, was also with the shits. So don't think that you was about to. That's what I'm saying. This is the person who founded the Greenwood district in Tulsa. This is the spirit that embodies Tulsa. And y'all thought the ancestors just got their ass whooped and they just took their ass whooped and laying down. You're bugging. This is who founded the town. Okay, he's beating ass. He's beating white. He beat three white men up on his own, just for violating one person he cared about. But anyway, so this is the title of the article. Johnson lost in 4th round, but not Jack Johnson, obviously the actual heavyweight champ. So it says, a real heavyweight boxing contest was pulled off in the East End Christmas Day, which offered no little amusement for the sporting class. The bout lasted only 4 rounds, but was fast and vicious while it lasted. The principals were Shakespeare Johnson, the plumber, and O.W. Gurley. This nigga fought a random plumber, fam, like on Christmas morning. Like, y'all thought the Temecula shit was funny. This shit is really, like, he really lined it up. This is a real boxing match, son. Christmas morning, yo, imagine. You got to put your coat on Christmas morning because your pops got to go fight a nigga named Shakespeare. Oh my God. All right. Let's get back into the story. Both men were in fine condition, okay, full of the Christmas spirit, and joined in the melee like old timers at the game. Gurley weighed in at 231, while his opponent weighed only 189. So Gurley already bigger than son. Okay. At the opening of the first round, the men sparred for an opening, and both landed effective blows. Okay, so they going. In the second round, a general mix-up ensued, from which Johnson emerged with a mashed nose, bleeding profusely. Bleeding profusely from the nose, fam. Getting to it. This, OW really, son, I gotta see, like, I gotta see, because I've only seen that picture of OW Gurley sitting down. I gotta see him standing up, because he's really beating ass, fam. Okay. Gurley had drawn first blood, but he was also considerably battered. Okay. In the third round, both men landed short arm jabs, uppercuts, undercuts, left hooks, right swings, and nearly every other blow known in the fighting game. But no serious damage was done. Yeah, it was kind of winded. After a fast mix-up in the fourth round, the fight was stopped and Gurley declared the winner. Gurley admits, however, that he had a hard go of it and was willing to stop while stopping was good. So he was catching some shit too now. Okay? While he was sending them, he had to accept some too. Okay? There was exchanges going on. However, Gurley was the victor. So somebody was like, all right. It's fucking Christmas. I know the referee is like, I can't believe he probably smoking a cigarette watching the goddamn fight. Like, I can't believe I'm refereeing a goddamn fight Christmas fucking morning. Like, this is insane. What is my life? But this nigga Ottawa, he wanted to fight Shakespeare. Ottawa versus Shakespeare. Jeez. So yeah, OW Gurley was with the shit. He was with the shits all the time. Oh man. That was crazy. What else we got? That's everything, right? That's the same thing about about James Fortin. Somebody had said a colored man. Yes, reader, he is a colored man. That shit was funny. But we don't gotta read it because we already watched the video about it. Let's see. So I did want to go to the archives tonight. Because I wanted to look up some of those associations, some of those businesses, and stuff like that. There was like this banner, a dope banner that I seen on a Negro newspaper, and I downloaded it, but I couldn't find it on my hard drive. God damn it, I was so mad about that. So yeah. So, matter of fact, while I look up something, y'all can read this. It's probably gonna be too small for y'all to read because Twitter don't let you zoom in for some reason. So hold on, let me go with one of the. We go right to the archives. You know what, too? I want to do this because when I was at the Library of Congress, I got more videos about that coming out too. They told me when I was in the photography room that if you just go simply to loc.gov/pictures, it's super easy to just be able to find pictures, obviously. So this is the online catalog that's associated with the actual room. So yeah, let's see if we can do Negro business. So this might be a whole collection of, Chicago, Illinois, 1941, 1942, Negro business and shopping centers. See? And it's like a whole collection. And this is the reason why I rock with this. Because look, boom, boom. Look at that. Look at that. So we're gonna get into that in just a second. Um, but I did want to make sure that yeah, we looked at the we got all of the states. Yeah, we go to the archives. We haven't gone to the archives in a minute, man. And it's already a quarter to 10, so I already know that the time is gonna fly. We already was in here for 2 hours already. Like it is so bugged out how time flies. Like I don't. Is it just? I think it's just because I be yapping, and it's all good. I'm gonna keep yapping. It's my show, goddamn it. Ain't no muting. Ain't nobody muting me on my show. You feel me? So let's do Negro business. You see, I'll be searching all types of keywords. Oh, you know what we should do? We should also look at the National Negro Association. So yeah, National Negro. Come on, National Negro. We can do. Wait, okay, that's Lunsford Lane. All right, so I wish I had. Yeah. I do. In this thread, I do. And I did it for that exact reason, so I'll be able to just look it up and be able to copy and paste that shit whenever I want. All right, so yeah, here we go. So let's do the National Negro. Let's do the National Negro Bar Association. Let's see what they got to say about them in the archives. Let's see what they got to say about them in the archives. Come on, load it up. Yo, did you see Birdman nodding off? He was off that good dope. You feel me? He was off that good dope. Oh man, that dope to have you just nodding off in the middle of the sentence, boy. What? He was off it bad. All right, while that's loading up, let's look at some of the pictures. Let's look at some of the photographs. This is why, I really appreciate all of the help that they gave me at the Library of Congress because of I didn't notice. I was only going to the website and then searching in the picture tab, but apparently it's completely different. This actual sub site or page on the Library of Congress is different than when you search on the Library of Congress for photos and stuff like that. And why? Come on, Library of Congress. You're killing me, Smalls. It be taking forever sometimes. Like, it be times where the Library of Congress, you know what? The government is shut down, too. I told y'all when I was at the Library of Congress, the young lady that was helping me, she was telling me that on October 1st it's gonna be coming from a vote and all this other stuff, whether or not people are gonna be able to come to the Library of Congress. She was like, if it gets shut down, like the actual library in the capacity of it being a library will still be a thing, but the people won't be able to go and visit anymore. And I found that to be crazy, and I was like, yo, well, given the government's track record when it comes to shutting down and all that other stuff, it's political theater to me for the most part. So it's like they're gonna do this whole little song and dance and shit like that. Like this happens all of the time, where y'all could have had this conversation or could have had this budget hashed out, months ago, but you didn't. You pushed it all the way to the wire. Now you got to shut down the government and all of the hoopla that comes into that. So I believe that we'll be just fine, but it is what it is. Right now you got to go through it. So yeah, look at this. This is a black-owned business. Where are my tools? Where's my zoom in tool? See, it's different over here. They don't got that. They don't got that one. They don't got the zoom in tool. But this is a black owned business. And it had, oh, so wait. So this is the entrance to Negro Professional Building, 47th Street, Chicago, Illinois. So this, you walking in here and there's all of these different offices. So you got a dentist, you got a lawyer, another lawyer. What does that say? Oh man. Hi, y'all. Need to be able to zoom in, son. Then you got the clothing store right next door, fam. Negroes making purchases from white proprietor of street clothing store Black Belt, Chicago. Okay. Not a black business, but, you know. What else we got? Employees of Negro Insurance Company. Ooh, look at this. This was 1941 to 1942. 1941 to 1942. This is what the inside of a black business in Chicago looked like. An insurance company. That's why I love the way the photographers titled these photographs, yo. That's why I love the way they titled them, son, because you get to actually see for real what's going on here. This is dope. We're gonna go through a few more of these. More than likely the same firm. This is a very nice workplace right here, son. Looks state of the art, looks clean. Insurance was always big business. What we got here? We got express company and second-hand dealer. Okay. Sinkford Express. You can buy your little things out of here for your crib and stuff like that. Okay. Negro grocery store. I'm with it. This is nice. I'm liking this collection. We're not going to go through every last one of them, but yeah. The lunch wagon, I ain't going to lie, OG, need a little bit of work. Need a little bit of work there. Needs a little bit of work. Not going to lie. What else we got? Barbershop. Need the barbershop. See how Coca-Cola was always good no matter where because it was freaking Coca-Cola? Funeral home. Undertaking parlor and the Black Belt. O.F. Douglas Funeral Home. I'm trying to tell you, we was on the podcast, not last week, but the week before last. I want to say, when Princessa was talking about the business of undertaking and being able to take the responsibility of burying our dead into our own hands. Like, that was important for us. Like I told y'all, we was, fresh off the plantation and doing what we were doing. That was a major thing. Like, up until that point, unless you were freed, obviously, if you died on the plantation, like, your body was disposed of however the, slave owners saw fit. But now that you're free, now, of course, there were black undertakers and all of that other stuff, but it's like, by and large, now we are in control of our dead. And we need to bury them. And, yeah, like, they made a business out of it. Not mad at it. Not mad at it at all. What else we got? Negro, not digitized. Untitled photo possibly related to sign on drugstore window. Okay. So it looked like a bodega of some sort, like a deli or something like that. One of those convenience stores. Uh-oh. Did it freeze on us? Did it freeze on us? Am I tripping? Did it finally load on this side too? Let's see. Did it? All right. Okay. So now we dealing with slow Library of Congress, so we gotta go back and forth and get it how we can, get it how we live when it comes to this. All right, so let's see. Let's check out the what is this? The Indianapolis Freeman. Okay, a classic newspaper. Let's see what they saying. Oh, come on, son. See, I don't like that. I don't like that. Be slow loading, slow loading. I'm not jacking it at all. I'm not jacking it. I'm still flabbergasted how it's already about to be 10 o'clock. Like I do not like this. It's blowing my mind right now, son. Like I know that I sound crazy, but I'm dead ass, fam. Like it does not feel like I was on here talking for 2 hours. Not at all. It does not feel like I was on here for talking for 2 hours. It feels like I just been talking for like maybe like a half an hour. You know, this reminds me. It's probably how it happens too. But this does remind me when I was on shrooms one day and I was talking to my man over the phone and I hung up and then I was like, yo, son, like, nah, time is not real, right? So I sent him a voice note. Fam, I sent the voice note, right? I personally felt like I was talking for like 5 minutes. Like, no, like, it couldn't have been any shorter than 5 minutes. Like, that was like the minimum that I believed I was talking. I looked down at that voice note, yo, that said I was only talking for 1 minute and 30 seconds. And I was like, yeah, son, time is not real. Time is not real. I'm trying to tell you. Let's check the chat. Sammy says, I read the Booker T. Washington did donate to politicians under the table, though. He learned to protect the first gen amassed wealth. You need laws in place that won't tax the new wealth and preserve it for the future. Yeah, like he had strategies. He had political strategies and stuff like that. I'm not saying that he was like a total dunce when it came to politicians or politics in general. He 100%. He had the Tuskegee machine. He knew about espionage. Like he had some political knowledge for sure. I'm just saying where he shined the most is going to be economics, man. And it's like him having political friends or friends in high places and all that. He was an advisor to 2 presidents. You feel me? Like, so I'm not saying that he was like politically, wholly politically ignorant. I just think that when it comes down to his exceptionalism, there was a lot of things that were afforded to him that he understood wasn't afforded to everybody else. But it's like, Booker T. Washington could, like, without any qualms or anything like that, like Booker T. Washington, like whenever he traveled across the country, he sat where like white people sat and nobody said nothing. He had his own private car. Fuck where white people sat. He had his own private cars when he rode on trains. Like, I can't really explain it to you for real, but it's like, Booker T. Washington was like, for all intents and purposes, like the most famous black man in America at the time. Like, I can't even think, like, it'd be like Jay-Z mixed with LeBron James, and like he is the black man. There isn't a more known black man, there isn't a more known black American man during this time, during his heyday. Like, there's coins named after him. There's towns, not named after him. There are literal coins with his face on it. There's ships named after him from the U.S. military. There's towns named after him. Like, there are children walking around during this, like, his generation and after his generation, walking around with their name being Booker T because of him. Like, this, he is the most famous black man in America. Like, that, just bar none, fam. Like, before him, it was Frederick Douglass. After Frederick Douglass, it was Booker T. Washington. Like, this man was internationally known. For all intents and purposes, Booker T. Washington was the face of black America while he was alive. Worldwide. You feel me? So, of course, he's going to understand politics at his level. I just don't think that he cared about politics as much as he cared about economics. Like, that's just what it is. Vincent says, get the hammer. Out come the blickies. I'm trying to tell you. Oh man. All right, so let's get to this article. So we can actually maximize it. So let's see. So what we got here? We got the Negro lawyer has caught the pace, making good in all courts, have colored and white clients. Some interesting biography by Perry Wilbin Howard, president of the Negro National Bar Association. So we know that it exists. It wasn't some bullshit. And let's read about it. Why not, right? We got it right here. We got the article. And then we'll get back to the photos. I think that if we go over the Negro associations, they're going to give us a nice overview of the businesses instead of trying to like pinpoint any one business. Yeah, we'll do it this way. So yeah, here we go. The Negro lawyer. Let's see how the lawyers was giving it up. Let's zoom in for y'all so y'all can read along with me. All right. The Negro lawyer of today is by no means the Negro lawyer of yesterday. In fact, he is no longer a Negro lawyer, but he is a lawyer practicing at the bar of this country. There was a time when our name was the synonym for agitators and our forum was the street corners or indignation meetings. And as a rule, our equipment for this special work was about as limited as our practice. And the client who trusted his liberty to the hands of the average attorney of color had as well donned the prison garb in advance or prepare himself for the gallows. So, in true ancestor fashion, they gotta say like, yo, we are the illest to do it. What year was this? Let's get a date. Let's get a date on this article. 1915. Wait, is this a Christmas? Yep, Christmas. This is a Christmas. Okay, 1915. Let's get back to it. All right. So let's get back. All right. Good citizenship was not attributed to us, and the average white man regarded the colored attorney in the South as a firebrand in the community, and he was to be shunned as would some great plague. And as a rule, they were regarded as representing nothing, having nothing, and deserving nothing. But it's altogether different now. For we have practicing before American bar today 3,604 well-equipped, painstaking, and conscientious attorneys of color who are succeeding, deserving, and esteemed. So in 1915, we had over 3,600 black lawyers. They say colored because, some of them was mixed. Let's be honest. But black lawyers, 3,600. That's, it's 1915, son. This is what I'm talking about. They are no longer regarded, even in the South, as firebrands, but they are succeeding in winning their cases. Let's see. Their cases, so where's the rest of the article at? Is it further down? Oh, yeah. Their cases before white juries, regardless of the personnel or color of the litigants, and are held in the highest esteem by the courts and others connected therewith. So again, 1915, look how they're bragging about black lawyers. Pay attention. Because if you let the contemporary people talk, they'll tell you that, oh no, everything black was secondhand, everything black was subjugated, everything black was oppressed, and you have a black man who was a black lawyer speaking for the National Negro Bar Association, speaking for 3,600 Negro lawyers and saying that, there was a time where we was a little bit, when we would look down upon, but now in 1915, we are held in the highest regards. We're winning cases despite whoever is trying it, white, black, or whatever. We're still winning, and it's 1915. So again, when y'all say when was America ever great for black people, it's like, why don't you ask the black lawyers or the National Negro Bar Association in 1915 how they felt about their standing in their profession? Ask them if it's great to be black in America right now. I bet you they say yes. Especially because clearly lawyers before them, let's just say the generation of lawyers before them, didn't fare so well or didn't fare as well. And they're proud of the progress that they've made. This is what I'm talking about. But on the other hand, here we go. They are representing the cream of business in the race, corporation counsel, promoters of business enterprises, and enjoying the unlimited confidence of our most successful men. In fact, there are many reputable attorneys in various communities whose counsel in domestic matters is sought beyond that of the ministers. In a great many instances, we have attorneys of color who have been called upon to sit as special judges in cases in the very heart of the South, and some who have been designated to serve as prosecuting attorneys to pro tem, and these have done the work with credit and commendation. Okay, notable whom is honorable Scipio A. Jones of Little Rock, Arkansas, who very recently served as special judge in a case in his home city where the litigants were of the white race, having been elected by the white attorneys to serve in this important case, in this important place. So you got white people actually like seeking out black people to help litigation, like litigate their cases. This is a white dispute. This is white on white. And was like, nah, we need Judge Jones. We need Judge Jones. Okay? We need Judge Jones to preside over this because I trust Judge Jones. You feel me? This is how they were thinking about your ancestors. This is how they viewed your ancestors in this realm, in law. Let's back up a little bit. The National Negro Bar Association has been in operation for 6 years. 6 years. Having been organized in the city of Little Rock with the late lamented Honorable Josiah T. Settle as its first president, and since which time it has met at the same time and place as the National Negro Business League. See how it's all intertwined? And much good has been accomplished. Let's talk about it. Its present officers are President Perry W. Howard, Jackson, Mississippi, Vice President J.C. Napier, Nashville, Tennessee, Secretary William H. Harrison, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Treasurer James A. Cobb, Washington, D.C., Chairman of Executive Committee, Scipio A. Jones, Little Rock, Arkansas. So all across the country, well, you got D.C., you got Nashville, so it's like mostly South. Yeah, mostly South, but you got some D.C. there too. All right, so all across the South, you got all of these reputable men coming together. And it was based upon, more than likely, they all met along business lines during a meeting at the National Negro Business League. And was like, you know what? I'm a lawyer. You're a lawyer. Let's just start the association. The Negro has made rapid strides in the last 20 years and is found in every movement that stands for substantial improvement in material. Come on, Nat. We got to go on up. In material progress. Okay, let's go back to it. He is quietly, persistently, and intelligently battling for the rights of his race first and his clients next. Come on, man. Come on, man. I don't got to lie on the ancestors, dog. I don't ever have to lie on them. I want y'all to understand that when I get to talking about the ancestors, it's not me pontificating. It's not me assuming. It's not me inferring. It's me literally just repeating what the ancestors told me to you, son. I'm trying to tell you. I don't have to make nothing up. I said the same thing earlier. I just said the same thing. They hopped off the plantation looking for rights. Looking for citizenship. That's what they wanted. The Constitution, the Bill of Rights, what is promised to the American. And yeah, so you know what? We got to pursue law. We got to understand the laws of the land. I'm trying to tell you something. The ancestors, like, you can't get to 2025 without this happening in 1915. And they was talking about this association being created 9 years prior and having lawyers 20 years prior to that. Like you can't possibly think, son, that the ancestors just popped out of nowhere. You know, your more contemporary ancestors from like the 60s and 70s just popped out of this with this idea, or your elders rather, not really ancestors. Some of them dead, some of them not. Just popped out of nowhere with these ideas about rights, and popped out with these ideas about civil rights, popped out with these ideas of being a lawyer. Like, no, dog, this is 100 years before them. This is 100 years before them. 100 years before Martin Luther King was born, fam. Before he was born, before he was thought about, this was what's happening, son. I'm trying to let y'all know something. They was already fighting for rights. They were already getting shit on the books. They were already lawyers. Lawyers, black lawyers in the 19th century. Shout out to Thurgood Marshall and all of that. But like, come on. He is quietly, persistently, and intelligently battling for the rights of his race first and his clients next. He is smiling at difficulties and overcoming obstacles, and his slogan is respectfully but positively. I did not write this article. Okay? I did not write this article. I did not read this article before tonight. I did not know this article was going to say that. But he is smiling at difficulties and overcoming obstacles. And his slogan is respectfully but positively. How many times did I say that about the ancestors? You thought I just made that up? This is exactly what they were on, fam. So while y'all can hop in my mentions or hop on stage with me on Spaces and get the woe is me in on the behalf of the ancestors, this is how the ancestors were speaking. And that's the reason why I go back to the 5 groups. If your ancestors or any of the ancestors didn't fall in those five groups, then they are just bystanders. They're consumers. And I'm not mad at them because they are a part of history too, but they weren't moving and shaking on the behalf of Black America like the National Negro Bar Association was. So before we have one individual in high or low income speaking, but not a part of the 5 groups, yeah, we're going to listen to one of the people of the 5 groups speak. They're all, applicable. They all have validity to speak. But if you just a regular Black American, you just, went to work, came home, took care of your family, that's dope as well. It's nothing, it's nothing dishonorable about that. But as far as like your role in pushing for Black American advancement, while it's admirable that you didn't you weren't a criminal or you didn't harm anybody or you didn't stop anybody else's progress, you didn't aid in the next man's progress. The National Negro Bar Association and then the subsequent lawyers that will be a part of it did. So that's the reason why we're going to listen to them first, instead of just the one individual and giving us their anecdote or giving us their POV. Super dope to read, super dope to understand, and all of that stuff. I told y'all, understanding, you can understand somebody without having to agree with them. Shit, there's a lot of you niggas that be out here agreeing with people and not understanding them, but that's a whole different conversation. But you can understand somebody and not have to agree with them. So here we go. The race is learning to appreciate him as a most trusted counselor who goes into his case with the interests of his client at heart. Our schools are turning them out in large numbers who are well fortified for the battles that confront them, and they are taking their place along by the side of the physician, as men who sacrifice, but as men who deserve the best as a class. This is what I'm trying to tell you. Like, they're going out of their way, fam, to help other Black Americans. This was beautiful. It was a great article. Oh, we got more? We got more? Hold on. Okay. Beauregard F. Mosley was born 47 years ago in Lincolnton. Daughter, a graduate of Chicago University. Who is he? Okay. What is this about? See, man, the formatting of these old newspapers sometimes be burning me, son. Like, what? What is this? What is this article connected to? Oh, Lincolnton, GA is just connected to this. Okay. So no. Oh, this was Scipio Jones. Okay. Yeah. Okay. What is it? So the member executive committee of the National Negro Bar Association. Yeah, so this is the judge. This is the judge that the white people were seeking out. Like, they were seeking him out to be able to preside over their cases. Committee of the National Negro Business League. He has the distinction of having at one time been elected special municipal judge of the city of Little Rock. Fire. S.B. Ransom, Indianapolis, a leading lawyer, has a good practice attorney for Madam C.J. Walker, a very useful citizen. This is what I'm talking about. He was Madam C.J. Walker's lawyer. Is that him right here? Is this F.B. Ransom? Like, come on. Oh, so this whole thing was just shouting out different lawyers. J.T. Lott in Indianapolis. Attorney Lott has handled big cases, was local counsel for Wabash Railroad Company, was retained for a separate coach suit. Like, come on, son. So you know what we got to do. You know we got to have an episode strictly about lawsuits. We got to have an episode strictly about lawsuits now. That's a fact. Sammy says, they're careful to mention they were attorneys and not just lawyers. I learned attorneys and lawyers who passed the bar and who can defend clients, while lawyers just finished law school. No bar. Ooh, I didn't know that. I never knew the difference between an attorney and a lawyer other than, like, the choice. That's a good tidbit. That's a good tidbit, Sam. That was dope. Shout out to Sam, always contributing some fire shit. And you got Pastor Walls, pause, Reverend J.W. Walls, pastor of Broadway Temple. Okay. So, yeah, we got to look up some lawsuits. We're not going to do that tonight. Matter of fact, yeah, we got to make a new list, y'all. We done ran through the whole list. So these are all black lawyers. Who this? Case Carrie B. Lewis. Look, these is all black lawyers. Oh, he's a journalist. Carrie B. Lewis, journalist. Sorry, y'all. Brilliant local attorney, graduate of Hampton Institute and Howard University, has a good law practice. Come on, man. Like, this is what the ancestors was on. His name is Robert Lee Brokenburr. I'm telling you, they was naming him. We're going to get in and out of this one because we got to look up the other associations. It's already 10:30, which is ridiculous. Or already 10:17, rather. Robert Lee Brokenburr, one of the most brilliant and successful local attorneys, graduated from Hampton and Howard Law School with high honors. He came to the city in the fall of 1909 and began the practice of law, since which time he has built up what is regarded by many as the largest following of any colored attorney at the bar. So he's the Johnny Cochran. Okay? He's the Johnny Cochran. Is that him? This got to be him. He's in the courtroom smoking shit. This is what I'm talking about. He is let's see. He is regarded as the most tactful and aggressive, which has caused him to be retained in some of the most delicate transactions and in cases in which the entire community has been interested. He is attorney for many of the leading business firms, the Masonic Hall Association, and the local branch of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or the NAACP. Mr. Brokenburr is more than a local attorney. He is in consistent demand. Hold on. We got to read about him. He's smoking. Throughout the state in both civil and criminal cases, he is held in such high regard that the attorneys in the smaller cities where there are no libraries constantly retain him to counsel them in handling their important cases. Mr. Brokenburr is a high churchman. having been elected to lay delegate for Indiana to the last into the next general conference of the AME Zion Church, which will be held in Louisville, Kentucky next spring. He is president of the local branch of the NAACP, president of the Hampton Alumni Circle, a Mason, and a Pythian. So he did all of the upper class black things. He did all of the black. He's a staple in the church. He's a part of the NAACP. He's the president of the local NAACP. He's the president of the alumni of Hampton, and he's a Mason, and he's a part of the Black American Fraternal Order. Like, he's a part of all the things. Like, everything that an upper class Black American is going to be a part of during the early 20th century, he has membership in all of them. In politics, Mr. Brokenberg is a Republican. Duh. He is always regarded as trustworthy because he is firm in his convictions, true to his race, in the interest of the party and country. Like, come on, man. Real niggas. Real deals. Real deals. But yeah, that's it. We uncovered like the illest of them all. So we don't need to go any further than that when it comes to that. So what was the next one? Let's do the National Negro Finance Corporation. Going right to the archives. Right to the archives with it. I think that was a great article, like a great addition to talk about the Bar Association. I think that was a perfect one to encapsulate it. Trying to tell y'all, man, the ancestors really was on it, son. They was really like that. It was really like that. Okay. Ooh, we got ads. You know it's good when you got ads. You know it's fire when you got ads. Oh, now things is loading a little bit faster. Okay, good. Library of Congress, you trying to make me look foolish in front of the people. You feel me? All right, so let's get into it. What we got? This is an ad. National Negro Finance Corporation, Durham, North Carolina, the one organization of which every race-loving Negro should be a stockholder. They used to pull that. See, this is what I mean. Okay? When it came down to being pro-black, this is what they was talking about. This is what the ancestors meant when it came down to being pro-black. It's like you actually put your bread behind Black American institutions. Excuse me. When it came down to like just regular degular shit, like living your life or whatever, that had nothing to do with, being unapologetically black. Nah. What really meant, when they hyped up the race card was when they were trying to get you to buy into some black shit. The one organization of which every race-loving Negro, are you pro-black? Are you race-loving? Are you a race-loving Negro? Then you should be a stockholder in the National Negro Finance Corporation, presided over by Robert R. Moulton and Charles C. Spalding. So let's read the ad. Zoom out just a little bit. And it is the purpose of the National Negro Finance Corporation not only to be a service station for the financial organizations which we are already successfully conducting, but with safety, soundness, and in keeping with good business principles to extend credit in order that we might be able to further roster, encourage, and help build new enterprises. See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, dog, they told you what the purpose of this shit was, man. Listen to the purpose. I'm going to read it again. This is the purpose of the National Negro Finance Corporation. This is the expressed purpose, okay, of this group. It is the purpose of the National Negro Finance Corporation not only to be a service station for the financial organizations which we are already successfully conducting. So we're letting you know that we have Black American financial institutions and financial organizations that are already successful. Yeah, that's first part. We got them. But with safety, soundness, and in keeping with good business principles, to extend credit in order that we might be able to further foster, encourage, and help build new enterprises. So when I tell y'all enterprising was a part of the ancestral Black American ethos, you gotta believe me. I'm never, ever, ever, ever having to make something up. I never have to lie on the ancestors, dog. And the thing is, that's the reason why I go and I talk about, like, I use or I cite primary sources so much. And then even within those primary sources, I cite organizations and not just individuals. We're going to talk about Lunsford Lanes and James Fortin as individuals, O.W. Gurley beating ass all through Tulsa. We're going to talk about that. But when it comes down to Black organizations of the time, they speak to a larger swath of Black Americans, because these people are all throughout the country. That's why it's called the National Negro Finance Corporation, not the Regional Negro Finance Corporation. This is speaking for all of Black America. You dig me? That's the reason why we do primary sources. That's the reason why we focus on organizations, fraternal orders, business owners and stuff like that, because they're able to. They have the money, they have the pull, they have the professionalism to be able to do that. The average individual doesn't. And that's the reason why we enterprise, because we're better together. We can get more done together, period. It just makes common sense. And that's another thing that you'll understand about the ancestors. Like, dog, that if they didn't make common sense, they're not gonna fucking do it. It don't make sense. The ancestors were very, very practical, and that's the reason why they were able to win. They didn't convolute a bunch of shit. Okay, they didn't conflate. They didn't do any of that. They made it very simple. Like, yo, dog, we're going to create, we have Negro financial institutions. How can we get more of that to happen? Yo, let's create a national association that is specifically about this. All right, bet. It just simple. It's not nothing crazy. It's not nothing elaborate. It's simple. The ancestors were huge on pragmatism and practicality. Like, it has to be applicable. It has to be something that the average Black American can do. All of this shit where you got to jump through hoops and all this other shit, like, nah, dog. Like, we have to be able to have Black people get on board immediately. They got to fuck with it off the rip. That's how this is going to have to work, period. So, it will be a clearinghouse for investments, not only for Negro securities, but for any securities that may be offered people. Or any securities that may be offered our people. If this organization were calling for contributions instead of selling stock, it should be a great privilege to make contributions to an organization which is going to render real service to our people that the National Negro Finance Corporation is sure to render. For a limited time, we are offering for sale our Common B class stock at $62.50 per share. For further information, write us. Be sure to address all communications to the National Negro Finance Corp. Sammy, you already know what that means. $62.50 a share. What year was this? Sam is my 1924, Sam. Sam is my official adjusted for inflation calculator. I think he dropped one in the chat too. Oh, yeah. Yep. He talked about it with Lunsford Lane. Bought his freedom for $1,000 in 1835, which was $36,815. I told you slaves cost anywhere between $20,000 and $40,000. So Sammy gonna let us know what $62.50 was worth in 1924, and I'll let you guys know once he put it in the chat. Once he puts it in the chat. So yeah, that was the ad for the National Negro Finance Corporation. Let's see what else we can find about them. See if we can find a nice article. Let's see if we can find a nice article. Well, that's loading. Let's go look at some more pictures. So we don't have to go through this collection anymore. We got other collections. You feel me? go back. But that's a good collection. I'm gonna go through that. I'm gonna go through that one. But let's see what else we got. More Negro business in Chicago. The B, a Negro business place. Booker T. Washington. Last photo of Washington taking that meeting. Oh wow. Shushan, Chicago. A lot of Chicago. This was Detroit, Michigan, typical Negro district, Negro business district. Oh wow. This is nice. What year was this? Does it say? It has to say. It has to say. What year was this? 1942. Okay. Nice. Nice strip of black businesses in Detroit. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. President Roosevelt actually came to one of the meetings in the National Negro Business League. Sam says, $62.50 will be $1,184. So yeah, $1,100 per share. Whew. All right. Nation's business. What is this? Nation Negro housing. Nation's business. Okay, this is just Negro housing. I guess that's a black landlord or something like that. Toilet's backyard. No. Slums in Negro district with business district skyline in the background. Atlanta, Georgia. Let's see. That's crazy that this is the slums. And I know this is from a particular angle, and I'm pretty sure if we zoom in, we'll see a lot more dilapidation. But, man, this being considered the slums in the 1940s of Atlanta, Georgia, man, oh, man. 1939, rather. 1939. Negro speed war work for Tennessee Valley Authority. Blah, blah, blah. Negroes waiting outside a rural church while other members of their families are attending a church business meeting. McIntosh County. I thought I could have swore I talked about I wanted Negro business. Now we got people waiting outside the church. Am I able to advance this to actually only look at collections? All right. Anyway, let's get back to the newspaper. We jumping around. What we got here? Progress of black race in 25 years cited. Okay. All right, let's do it. Short little article. So it says Chicago. Colonel Roscoe Conklin Simmons, the nephew of Booker T. Washington, addressed the Silver Anniversary Convention of the National Negro Business League Thursday night. The vision of the league's founder was the subject of Colonel Simmons' talk, in which he told of the struggle Washington made in behalf of Negro progress and of the circumstances leading to the founding of the league. I'm sitting there struggling. He urged the members of the National Negro Business League to give their enthusiastic support to the program that has been outlined for the organization in order to fulfill the ideals of the founder for the race. Speaks on religion. Dr. Charles Summer Williams in Indianapolis spoke on religion and business. Okay, plans for the National Negro Finance Corporation were related by C.C. Spaulding, Durham, North Carolina. Chairman of the executive committee of the league. The morning session was devoted to talks on Negro progress in the last 25 years in business, journalism, arts, and letters, religion, social agencies, and education. More than 70,000 enterprises, varying in capital from $500 to $1 million, are being operated in the country by Negroes. W.C. Pearson, speaking on business, said excuse me, I said that wrong. By Negroes, W.C. Pearson, speaking on business, said he referred particularly to the Liberty Life Insurance Company of Chicago and the North Carolina Mutual Life Insurance Company and 74 other financial institutions controlled and run by Negroes. So maybe, just maybe, let's just say, for all intents and purposes, which I don't believe, that all of this stuff is just propaganda, right? At least it's propaganda by the ancestors. At least it's just propaganda. At least I'm getting the propaganda from the ancestors themselves. Black men are telling me this shit, not a bunch of people who are not black and not from the times that they're talking about. You feel me? That's what I think is the absolute difference between me. First of all, I don't think it's propaganda, but let's just say it is. 70,000 enterprises across the country, ranging from $500 to $1 million in capital in these businesses. And what year was this? What year was this article written? 1924. 1924. And this is just since 1900, basically. They saying since 1900, this is what we got shaking. We got this done in 25 years. I've been alive for 35. And I'm not saying no Black American progress has happened, but on this scale, come on, let's just be honest. Individuals get into a bag. I know a bunch of people who became millionaires, in my lifetime and stuff like that, who were my age, younger or older, for sure. But it's when it comes down to institutions, come on. The organization of the National Negro Finance Corporation, he said, is the crowning achievement in this record of progress, and in a few years, this will stand out as a landmark among financial institutions of the country. That's what the plan was. Trophies were awarded to 3 cities, which most effectively observed National Negro Health Week in March. Cincinnati was given first mention, with Baltimore next, and Memphis third. Man. Gaslighting has almost disappeared from Italy since the war, electricity having taken its place. The municipal, yeah, they talking about something else. They talking about something completely different. So yeah, that was just an article about Negro progress. But I mean, it still stands, yo. It's not hard to find. It's not hard to find Black American advancement, yo. It's really not. This is from the same year, 1924. What they talk about here? National Negro Business League News Bureau. No. Well, let's see. Okay. No, we can talk about it. The National Negro Finance Corporation, with a capital stock of $1 million, having for its object the promotion and expansion of Negro business enterprises, was officially launched last Friday evening at a dinner given at Stewart's Restaurant, number 2630 Park Place. Come on, Sam, what's that? $1 million in 1924. $1 million in 1924. What's that adjusted for inflation? The new organization is an auxiliary of the National Negro Business League, of which Dr. R.R. Moulton, principal of Tuskegee Institute, is president. Over $50,000 of stock was subscribed in a few minutes. What? Negro corporations aggregating $20 million were represented. What? Among those present was C.C. Spaulding, president of the North Carolina Mutual Insurance Company; E.C. Brown of Brown and Stevens, bankers, out of Philadelphia; John L. Webb, custodian of the Woodmen of Union, Hot Springs, Arkansas; W.G. Pearson, capitalist, Durham, North Carolina; Watt Terry, real estate promoter, Brockton, Massachusetts. W. Gomez, manager of the Bankers Fire Insurance Company. John E. Nail of Nail and Parker Real Estate Company. Look at all of these different businesses, fam. W. H. Harris, Grand Secretary of the Good Samaritans, Athens, Georgia. Fred R. Moore, editor of the New York Age. John M. Avery, president of the Mechanics and Farmers Bank, Durham. Dr. Moulton and A. L. Halsey, secretary of the National Negro Business League. Service and conservatism will be the keynote of the National Negro Finance Corporation. Service and conservatism will be the keynote of the National Negro Finance Corporation, Dr. Moulton announced. His words, not mine. His words, not mine, yo. I'm not making this up. I want this to be a lesson to y'all, yo. I never, ever, ever, ever have to lie on the ancestors, son. Understand that when y'all coming over here to fuck with me and listen to me do my history thing, son, understand it's always going to be primary sources like this. I don't have to speak for them. They got it. They got it. And these motherfuckers was rich 100 years ago. They touched M's in 1920s, fam. 100 years ago, they was touching M's. I'm going to listen to what the fuck they got to say. Sorry. Call me whatever. But somebody that's able to touch $1 million, which Sam said in the chat, is the equivalent of 18,945,964 goddamn dollars. If they were able to touch that as individuals and as a collective 20 times over, because it says 20 million as far as the businesses go, yeah, I'm going to listen to them. I'm going to believe what they say. Simple as that. We shall place the resources of this corporation at the service of the Negro businessmen who need capital for the development of their enterprises, and in all of our transactions, great care will be taken to protect and safeguard the funds invested. Capable, efficient men of known integrity will conduct the corporation's affairs. The temporary officers are Robert R. Moulton, President W. Gomez, Secretary, we read those names. John M. Avery, Treasurer. Offices will be opened in New York, Chicago, Durham, Memphis, Dallas, and Atlanta. The board of directors will be composed of 25 members living in various sections of the country. Like, come on, son. And y'all wonder why I be so hype on the ancestors, son. Y'all wonder why I be going so crazy when it comes to the ancestors. Look at the type of shit they were doing, son. Look at the type of shit they was doing. This is incredible work. This is incredible work that the ancestors was doing, dog. Like, I cannot stress this enough. I can't stress it enough. All right, so let's X out of that one. Great articles. Great articles. Let's see. I'm trying to find it where it's like a lot of red. That's what you look for. 1924 was a huge year for them. So we're going to do one more article, then we're going to look up another one. Because, of course, it's about to be 11:15. Time doesn't exist when I'm on stream. I'm trying to tell you. What we got here? What we have here? Financial help for developing race enterprises. Large $1 million National Finance Corporation is formally launched. Major Moulton is president. So, yeah. All right, so it's going to be some of the same stuff. Yeah, it's going to be some of the same things. Wait, what's this? Predicts conflict of races. New York, Sir Henry Lund, editor of the Review of the Churches and leader in the church unity movement, described the possibility of a war between the white race of Europe and the colored races of Asia and Africa in an address at the Cathedral of St. John the Divine. Oh, well, best of luck. We're leaving. We're on our way out of here. Sorry. Oh, wait. Hold on. What was that thing about race purity? Hold on. 1 second. Let me reopen that real quick. What was they talking about when it come to race purity? Race purity loses case by the Associated Negro Press. Judge the state has ruled against the new purity of blood law in the first case to come up since the measure passed. Legal provisions have been made to determine just who are the white and who are the colored people in the state. This is to be shown by blood tests and records. Robert Painter, white, made application to marry Arthur Sorrells. The registrar of vital statistics looked up the records and discovered that the grandmother of Miss Sorrells was born in 1856 and was registered as a colored person, freeborn. For that reason, Miss Sorrells' marriage to Painter was held illegal. Oh, we not doing this again. We not doing this again. Y'all remember that case? Judge Holt held that this evidence was insufficient to prove that the woman was colored, and although he believes in the state's new law, issued the license. Oh, okay. Farm children make good in high schools. All right. Cause now I want to. Okay, real quick, because I want to see what they mean. According to a survey made by the Bureau of Education of the Department of the Interior, farm children make better progress through high school than other children. And making tests, 20,000 children from every state in the union were used. The report states that this is true because of the unusually good progress of farm girls. The facts show that a higher percentage of farm girls than of other girls are enrolled, and that the percentage of elimination from high school is lower. Probably has something to do with work ethic or something like that. Shout out to the farm girls. Let's see. I wanted a collection of photos like the other one. But it seems like when it comes to that, they only got it for Chicago, which is cool, but I wanted to see other spots. Let's see what they got. Oh, it's okay. So it's not even that many pages. So we'll go through these real quick, and then we'll get back to the archives. Let's see. Detroit, Michigan, back view of a Negro dressed in a zoot suit walking in the business district. Okay. Small store owned by two Negroes for about 40 years is getting a last rush of business from the soldiers before they will have to move out to make room for the Army maneuver grounds. Oh, damn, son. What? And you know what? I've seen this photo before. I don't know if I used it before. I didn't know that was the title of the photo. Oh, so World War II is happening, and they will have to move out to make room for the Army maneuver grounds. That's crazy. Hopefully they were able to get back after the war, right? So this was 1941, World War II. Yep. When Negro Coast Artillery Regiment in Trinidad, BWI Trinidad girls do a rushing business selling cold drinks to soldiers at USO Center. Negro lawyers and other historic characters of Mississippi, New York, street scenes in Harlem. Is this a collection? Let's see what we got here. Okay. Trashman didn't get my trash today. Look at Harlem. Many accidents are attributed to unpatrolled intersections in Harlem. Here, school children are allowed to run across busy intersections unescorted. Oh my gosh. One thing that I appreciate about these, like the photographs from like the 30s and 40s specifically, is just how clean they were. Like, even if they were taking pictures of like dirt and stuff like that. Like the actual film was so smooth. It's almost like it had its own filter on it. You know what I'm saying? I always appreciated that. Mm-hmm. These dope photos of Harlem. Oh, speaking of photography, I was talking about the photographs that I saw in the Library of Congress, right? And the niece of Gordon Parks, a famous Black American, I can show y'all, photographer, right? Him right here. His niece hit me on Twitter and says that, oh yeah, like, and I was like, yo, do you have any of his works, still? And she said that she has them at her granny's crib. So whenever she go over as a visit, she's gonna take pictures and stuff like that. So shout out to her. But yeah, this is her uncle. It's another thing that I love about my job, son. It's like in my line of work, I've been able to get in touch with the relatives of what's my man name? McKissick of Soul City, North Carolina. His family reached out to me because of the video I made about him. Sarah Rector's niece reached out to me due to my video, and now Gordon Parks's niece has contacted me. So like, it's one of the perks. Some of the perks that come with the work, as Spitter would say. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. So yeah, let's get back to the archives. I can't believe it's already 11 o'clock, son. That's super bugged out. So we're not gonna keep doing the financial corporation. Obviously, we got to go to the next one. Let's do National Negro real estate dealers. I should have just did them in a row, but my brain. Mm-hmm. Oh, funny. Oh, no results found? Ah. Oh man. All right, let's see. Let's do what if I did Negro real estate dealers? What if I just did Negro real estate dealers? Would that change? Mm-hmm. I'm gonna see. How many people we got watching on Twitter, man? 167 people. Shout out to Twitter, man. Shout out to Twitter. I'm glad that y'all rocking with me on Twitter. Y'all can leave comments and all of that too. You know what I'm saying? I'll read them. Okay, so what do we got? This is 1926, Washington, D.C. Let's see. When spring comes, will your home be ready? Race dealers handle $1 million of property in 1925. Seems a little low, don't you think? Let's see. A rough estimates of sales records in the offices of 98% of Negro real estate dealers reveals the fact that close to $1 million worth of real estate was handled by them during the year just closed. Okay, just in a year. It's going to be something similar, Sam, but go ahead and do it for this was 1925. I think it's about it's no, this is 1 year later. You don't got to do it. It's just a year later. So, adjusted for inflation is about $19 million, guys. So yeah. Statistics show that 3,435 families were established either in a new or reconditioned homes, showing an 8% increase in the number of home buyers during the year previous 1924. The tendency towards segregation in Chevy Chase and other suburbs boosted the race population in the northwest and southeast sections of the city. Houses and apartments formerly owned by whites came into possession of the race either through white or colored dealers. The race homebuyers acquired their property through such well-known and long-established firms as those operated by Mortimer Harris, Whitfield McKinley, J.F. Holland, S.H. Rose, and the Henry A. Brown Company. Records in the district office. What is that word? Bebel. Is that believes? Yeah, probably believes. The statement that the real estate boom in Washington is over, and the failures of others handle a thriving and the failure of others to handle a thriving business is generally allotted to poor location, lack of systematic routine in handling the businesses, or maintenance of a poor advertising policy. The Washington Tribune's real estate page has scored big with the real estate dealers and the prospective home buyers, both white and colored. 94% of the advertisers who inserted their ads in their original edition of this page are still with us, thus providing the natural result of results. The actual number of agents, the natural number of gate lawns of real estate advertisements presented to colored home buyers each week by the Tribune is equaled or excelled by no other medium in this city. Rentals have also been stimulated through this widely read medium. List your firm with us and watch your clientele grow. So that's all this was. It was more so about this actual newspaper, telling real estate people to advertise with them, which is, putting your bid in. It's all good. It's all business. Trying to find a lot of red. No, this might be some beef. Hold on. This might be smoke. We gotta see. This might be actual smoke. They might have been popping it. We gotta see first. What's this say? Oh shit. Oh shit. Hold on. Hold on, son. Now, y'all remember when I was talking about blockbusting, right? Hold on, son. I was telling y'all about blockbusting, but I was telling y'all this is what white I should have known. But they were talking about, I was talking about white real estate dealers who were doing this illegal practice called blockbusting, which was essentially lowballing white homeowners to get them to sell their cribs and shit like that. And then once they sold it to them, you would turn around and sell it to a black family for like a super premium. Like, that's how you was able to buy low and sell high when it came to, real estate in these places, because, integration was not a thing for real. So just the mere thought of black people moving into your town or moving into your block was enough, or seeing them and shit like that. Because like blockbusters used to use silly tactics, like they would pay groups of children to fight. They would pay groups of black teenagers to fight in front of your crib to have you believe that your neighborhood is being taken over by Negroes and all of that, right? And so they would come to you, lowball you on what they're willing to buy your crib for, and then turn around and sell it to a black family for an exorbitant price. Wow. So blah blah blah. The Negro block vote in Atlanta has already had its effects on the lives of many Atlantans, thanks to the cooperation of local elected officials that owed their election to this NAACP block vote. Mr. Griffin growled, warming up the audience and enjoying himself. Turning to blockbusting, he said it was unscrupulous and engaged in by Negro real estate dealers who make enormous profits from this vicious practice. Taking his time, Mr. Griffin added that blocks are busted in order to in a grab for power. Eventually, he said, they hope to run a majority of the white citizens out of the city, one ward at a time. Then their block vote will assure them a black city hall. He slipped in. It has happened in Washington D.C. and can happen here. But what will we do about blockbusting? When elected your governor, he said with knitted brow. I will have my legal staff advise me on possible state legislation that might be passed which would make the practice of blockbusting illegal. He said he could make Georgia forward and put a stop to, quote, unlimited integration. Then he had some fun. Quote, we may pass some laws the federal courts will say are unconstitutional, but we're going to pass some anyway. Yo, I'm trying to tell you, this is what white politicians were talking like. What year was this? What election was this? What? Bro, what? 1962. That's what I'm saying. This wasn't even that. Son, yo, this is somebody running for governor, fam. This is somebody running for governor. Son said we may pass some laws the federal courts will say are unconstitutional, but we're going to pass them anyway. Oh my God, son. What? You know what one of these moderates is? He'll only take one member of the NAACP to lunch at a time. So he out here cracking jokes. He think he Trump. Talk to him, Marvin, shouted a member of the Citizens Association. Talk to him, Marvin is crazy. That's how we talk today. Nah. Hold on, son. Marvin Griffin. Yo, somebody said, talk to him, Marvin. I just said that shit to HJ the other day, son. Nah, son. Talk to him, Marvin is nuts. That was nuts. Oh, my God, son. You'll never know what you're going to get in the archives, yo. I'm telling you, chat. You'll never know what you get in the archives at all, son. That is crazy. That was crazy to say, yo. He said that in public. Oh, my God. He closed, pleading for, I got to finish. Not finish it, but I got to. Oh, my goodness. He closed, pleading for a heavy turnout at the polls. I'll need 2 or 3 of you. He said, for every one of them. He got a standing ovation, and later on a dark street, a member of the audience told a stranger, Marvin sure got a hard fight. Griffin reports bribe. In the middle of the confusion over who was charged with what and when the piece of the documentary evidence will be produced, Mr. Griffin has come along with the tale he was offered money to get out of the race. He didn't take it, he said. He up there. I don't believe a fuck thing that he's saying. I don't. I don't, but he doing his politician thing, son. Oh, my goodness. Oh, man. This is crazy. Politics, boy. Politics has always been a goddamn circus. He said there may be some things that we pass that are unconstitutional, but we gonna pass them anyway. And then somebody said, talk to him, Marvin. Cliff says gentrifying real estate developers still on that BS. That's a fact. And I didn't even know. I ain't gonna lie. Now, listen, it does not surprise me that there were black real estate dealers who got into this shit. And I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Like, we seeing some mixed reviews when it comes to the real estate side. We seeing some mixed reviews when it comes to the real estate side. But, yo, I'm trying to tell y'all, son, the archives is the best. The archives, like, I'm telling you, you get to really see what life is like for real. Like, for real, fam. That was fire. That was so fire. Yo, so I don't know who Marvin Griffin was. I wouldn't even be surprised if he won. I wouldn't be surprised if he won. Somebody look. Somebody look to see if Marvin Griffin won that shit. I wouldn't be surprised if he won. Let's see. What we got on page 2? Homes and businesses owned by African Americans in Knoxville and Memphis, Tennessee. There we go. There we go. Let's get into that. Let's get into that collection, huh? I've seen this photo so many different times. I done used it so many different times. It is Roger Williams University, Nashville, Tennessee, a normal class. Okay. And I told y'all what normal schools were. Normal schools were schools that taught students how to teach, to be teachers. So these were all going to be future teachers here. This is the academic class. Okay. Yo, that middle part, bro, couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. I could not have a part going in the middle of my shit, boy. No. Look at this. These middle parts that the young men are wearing here, this one and this one, don't put a middle part. That's not happening. I might do something like this. I might do the side part. The Frederick, you know what I'm saying? The Freddie Douglass. I might give him that. But the middle part, literally bisecting my hair, son, no, that's not happening, bro. And all of the guys got it. He got it. He got it. He kept it solid. He don't got it. He 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 got slightly to the side, but that's inspired by the middle part. I think he got a side part, though. He's the only one that... No, I think he got one, too. That middle part is egregious. I'm sorry, fellas. What year was this? What year was this? I don't care. I'll go all the way back. They don't tell us? Whatever. But that part, I could never do that part. What's this? Negro home of R.R. Church in Memphis, Tennessee. That is a beautiful home, son. That is a beautiful home. Beautiful. W.L. Smith, grocer in Knoxville. Fire. Home of Mr. Manning in Knoxville, Tennessee. These homes are beautiful, son. They're huge. That shit is crazy. Roger Williams University, Nashville, Tennessee, the minister's class. See, now I can't unsee the middle parts. So now I see them everywhere now. Yo, listen, if you had the side part, you cool. I get it, but that middle part is crazy. Yeah, that was a very brave thing to do. You jumped out the window with that. The home of C.C. Dodson, Knoxville, Tennessee. Yo, I'm not gonna lie to you. What is this style? This architecture is very nice. I'm digging it. Whether it's like a tall crib or whether it's like something shorter like this. These are very beautiful homes, son. He was a jeweler. Got you. Okay. A jeweler. This was a good collection. I like this one. Okay, Richmond, VA businesses. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got. This is Lehigh Street Pharmacy. I've seen this photo before. I've seen this one. So this was a drugstore. Fire. We had S.J. Gilpin Shoe Store. Saw this photo before too. I'm glad I actually got a little bit of background. Composing Room of the Planet. Okay, so this is the Richmond Planet newspaper. One of my favorites. I read Richmond Planet all of the time. All of the time. Classic. More Richmond Planet photos. I actually tweeted about them before. This was the outside of their business. Richmond Planet. Yeah, their logo was the arm the flexing arm emoji. And that was their actual logo to the to the newspaper, son. It was dead ass the black arm. Which one is this? Richmond Steam Laundry. Okay, black business. That's what I'm trying to say, son. Like the ancestors, y'all really can't tell me shit about them. African American women and men posed by machinery. Lexington Laundry, Richmond, Virginia. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is the African Methodist Episcopal Church, Richmond. Look at this. And you know black people built these shits. That's the fire shit about. Like, black people built all of these cribs and all of these different factories and all of this stuff. Like, y'all gotta understand, man, what it takes. Like, y'all have to understand what it takes for y'all to ignore it. Just for it to be like, oh, that's an old photo. It's like, nah, dog, do you know what it took? It took mad long for this photo to exist. Like, everything in this photo took years to come, like, to be made. Just for it to be a snapshot in time and just for you to be like, oh, yeah, old picture. like so much just in this one photo had to take place just for it to exist, just for you to be like, oh, yeah, that's cool. It's a cool black and white photo. That's the craziest shit to me. The craziest shit to me. It's like, yo, history, it takes all of history to make history, but it's like it takes a second to forget about it. It's so crazy. Anyway, let's move on. Let's see what else we got here. We have a Negro drugstore. Look at this interior, man. Nice and clean. Everything is in order. Beautiful. Getting a little bit of the sniffles, G. Come on. It froze up on me. It's all good. It's all good. I'm telling y'all, man, like when it come down to the ancestors, bro, like you gotta understand, what is this? Construction of Virginia Union University by African American laborers. So hold on. Virginia Union University? I never heard of this. Is this still stand today? Don't get me to bragging. It still exists. Hold on. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Because that looks very similar to this. Because that looks very similar to this. You feel me? It's looking real black American. It's looking real black American in this construction. Hold on, because I'm seeing it. Are y'all seeing it? Are y'all seeing it? Can we zoom in? Yes, we can. We should have been zooming in the whole time, but it's all good. Oh yeah, this is yeah. This is it. Uh-huh. Yeah. Same. Same. You see the circles and all. Yeah. That's us. That's us. That's what I'm talking about, son. Beautiful. Beautiful, man. Yo, I'm trying to tell you, yo. The construction. This is day one shit, yo. This is fire, son. So I will never get tired of studying the ancestors, my G. Like I'm telling y'all that it's endless. It's endless, yo. Okay, what else we got? Oh, look. On the ground with it. On the ground with it. Which one is that? Which building is that one? Word. I want to see what building that one was. That's crazy, son. Virginia Union University. Nothing but black men are building this. This don't seem like an HBCU. Is it an HBCU? Oh wait, so I think okay. So this part got to be, is that this part right here? Is that what it is? Is that what I'm looking at? Cliff, where Cliff at? Cliff, you gotta help me out with this, bro. What am I looking at when it comes to this shit? Like, is it this? Is it this? Because it looks like these arch doorways, but they not doorways. It's just the only one right here. Everything else seems like windows, and I don't see any arch windows here. You gotta help me out. Cliff says dope black historical architectural features throughout those archives for sure. But you gotta help me out specifically. Hold on. Is this okay? Hold on. Is Virginia Union University a HBCU? I'm seeing a lot of black. I'm seeing a lot of black. Is it a H? Oh, Virginia Union is a HBCU. All right, bet. For sure. Got you. I know Crystal would know. This is her turf right here. So yeah, for sure. Is a private historically black university in Richmond. Got it. The American Baptist Home Mission Society founded the school as Richmond Theological Institute in 1865, shortly after Union troops took control of Richmond at the end of the American Civil War for Black American freedmen to enter into the ministry. The college had the first academic library at a historically black college and university, building the library in 1865, which was the same year the college was established. Got you. Okay. Got it. That's fire. Yeah, I don't think that's the same building either, Cliff. I don't think that's the same building, but that's fire, man. That made it even better. I thought that was a cracker school. I thought that was a white school. You feel me? Um, but yeah, man. Yeah. All right. We coming towards the end. So which association were we on? This is still a real estate dealers, right? Real estate brokers to me here for the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, the organization of Negro real estate dealers will hold its convention in Washington. Oh, so okay, so it's the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. That's why. Okay, the National Association. Whatever. It's fine. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. There we go. Now it's some more are coming up. Let's see. 1962. Is it gonna still be Negro what? What? Negro Realty Bank brokers hit anti-bias ruling. I don't care about that. I don't care about that. Oh damn! It's only what 14, 7 results. Oh, I done messed up the. It's fine. Let's move on. We did the bar. We did the bank. We didn't do bankers. We did the financial. We can do National Negro Bankers. No, we did bankers, right? We did do bankers. Am I tripping? No, it was the finance corporation. Crystal says Virginia has 5 HBCUs: Hampton University, Norfolk State University, Virginia State University, Virginia Union University, and Virginia University of Lynchburg. 6 if you include Hillman. For sure. Oh, man. Let's do Negro Bankers Association. But there was other ones too. Let's do. No, we don't gotta keep doing it. National Negro Retail Merchants. Let's see what that's like. National Negro Retail Merchants. Oh yeah, we about to get up out of here. It's already 11:20, guys. Let's see. Let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. I ain't gonna hold you, gang. What we got? In the Twitter joint, it's scheduled until 11:30. I don't even know how to, if I wanted to, like keep it going, like how to even keep it going after 11:30. So yeah, let's see what we got here. What we got here? Let's zoom on in. National Negro Business League meets next week. Industrial pageant featuring a feature of meeting. Businessmen's businessmen's game enjoyable. The old folks all out in uniforms. Umpire Reserve Reverend Singleton and Taylor there with the goods. They had the old men out there on the baseball field. YMCA building fund increasing. Mm-hmm. Man, oh man. All right, all right, all right. Let's see what we got. Cause of the need. Okay, Mr. Lindsay is the local superintendent of the Atlanta Mutual Insurance Association and also a member of the board of directors of this company. He is also the writer of the weekly Negro Business League letter, which appears in the Tribune, and which have been the means of placing the cause of the Negro merchants before the local public in a most telling manner. Mr. Lindsay is most conversant with local business conditions and will be able to give all information to the convention concerning the efforts of the Savannah Negro businessman. He is a director in the Wage Earners Savings Bank, the largest Negro banking institution in the country. Is it now? Is it now? The Wage Earners Savings Bank. Wage Earners. It's my first time hearing of it. Yeah, we don't even trust the AI answer because it just says a bunch of bullshit. Letter from Wage Earners Savings Bank to W.E.B. Du Bois. Okay. All right. What is the letter? See, man, I'm telling you, the rabbit holes, man. Now I'm looking up a PDF of a letter from the Wage Earners Savings Bank. I'm trying to tell you. All right, come on, where is it? There we go. There we go. Okay, nice header. So it clearly existed. So where we at? Where we at? Resources over $1 million, of course. The Wage Earners Savings Bank. Wow. Savannah, Georgia. See, y'all remember on Monday's show, right? Monday's show, we were talking about Savannah a lot when it came down to George Lyle and all of that, right? Now, look, we back in Savannah when it came down to the bank. When it comes down to the bank, this is fire. Oh, man. All right. So this is a letter to W.E.B. Du Bois. What they had to say to William? Dear sir, referring to your letter of the 20th installment to our president, Mr. L.E. Williams, we beg to advise that Mr. Williams has suffered with a second stroke of paralysis, thereby rendering him incapacitated to do any sort of business. Since receiving your letter, we thought ere this time we would have been able to take it up with him, but his condition is of such that we are unable to make even an attempt. However, as soon as his condition is sufficiently improved, we will bring this matter to his attention. Extending our best wishes, we are very truly yours. What the hell did William want? What was he asking? He was asking for a line of credit or something? Probably asking for a line of credit. Oh, we officially hit 200 people watching on Twitter. All right. Right at the buzzer, too. Shout out to that. I appreciate y'all coming through. Man. With that being said, we're going to end it there, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to end it there. I appreciate you guys for coming through. It was another hell of a stream. I had a great time. I learned a lot. That's what I love most about this shit, that I be learning mad shit. Like, I just be learning mad shit in real time. And this is the thing. Y'all be seeing me have my mind blown 3 nights a week. And then by the time I get to spaces or I get to debating to somebody and shit like that, you got to understand my mind been blown about it. And now it's just a part of what I know now. It's just my knowledge now, fam. This is what I do. So, yeah. So, we're going to get on out of here. What song we going to take him out on? Because we're going to start us with a song and leave with a song. You know? He got so many, man. He got so many. It really is one of those things where you got too many options. You know what? That's what we're going to do. We're going to keep it mellow. We're going to keep it mellow, man. We're going to keep it mellow. Hold on. Where is it at? There we go. With your host, President Hotep Hotep Nation.
280ZX, Mercedes and Vets. Celebrity guests, write heavy checks, can't disclose it all. But know I'm about to ball. The fuck out on y'all. Money talking, diamond speaking, got your hoes tweaking. They big up in the boss like she needed a reason to get lost in the evening and take it off. She done it cause she wanted. She was so womanly, I called her mama though she younger than me. She was only 20 when she come to me. I laced her with a little gang. She gave me a lot of money though I never asked for a thing. Higher than satin rings, living in the clouds before I stepped aboard the plane. Gourmet cheddar trays and champagne, Rolex presidential campaign. Critics hating, that's a goddamn shame. They done Jim Morrison the same thing. Rising to the storm, smoking in the rain, man.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're subscribing to all of the YouTube, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I will be here Friday Friday
with some
night.
niggas as I got richer. Lost my main bitch as I got richer. She ain't dead, I just ain't fucking with her.
You guys have a good night, man.
It takes some resource.
And as always,
You never take
you
it
can't
off.
have the future without the present, and you can't have the present without the past. And we don't study history to live in the past, but to order our steps in the present so we can positively what? Affect our future. You guys have a great night, okay? Be productive in the morning, be smart in the morning, learn something new, and we'll be back here on Friday. All right? And as always,